San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Good to be with all of you today on a Friday. Lots to talk about in the Padres world today. Lots to talk about college baseball. We got some college baseball stuff we want to dive into later on in the day. Today we got NFL put their schedule out. Talk about that. I have been holding back. We're in Padres season. Look, I get it. I understand that. I have been holding back on just completely destroying and crushing the national college football media for like the last 2 weeks. I might get to that today. I think I talked a little bit about it last week. I'm so tired of listening to entities try to tell me what is good for college football and what's bad for college football. So I might talk about that later on in the show today as well. Lots to get to, especially after a day coming off of, we didn't have a show yesterday because we had Padres baseball. Well, we probably could have just had a show yesterday. I mean, that was a rough game. That was a rough game for the Padres yesterday. I mean, honestly, like after like the first inning on a getaway day, based on the way the team has been hitting, that was all she wrote in the first inning. I mean, they were not coming back from that. The people I was watching the game with, they're like, oh, well, it's early. I'm like, okay, look, I understand they've come back like the day before when Gavin Sheets hit that 3-run bomb, which, by the way, was incredible. I know that they've been doing that over and over and over again. It seems like it's just inevitable that the Padres are just going to come back from all of these deficits that they're in. That was too big of a deficit in yesterday's game on a getaway day after they stole one on Wednesday for the Padres to overcome. You could see from the get-go. I mean, Griffin Canning, that had to be one of the worst outings I have seen out of a starting pitcher in a Padres uniform since Jared Weaver. Not his best. I don't think that's the Griffin Canning you're going to see. You get bad games like that. Padres were in a little bit of a jam because they haven't had a pitcher go 6+ innings that much in the last couple of starts. And so the bullpen was already a little taxed. Obviously, you got a roster move coming up very soon. I mean, Griffin Canning was going to have to wear it for a couple of innings. And here's the deal. Like, what, he had 43 pitches in the first inning? 43 pitches in the first inning? I mean, that was catastrophically bad yesterday. And I think some of that stuff can be fixed with Griffin Canning, but that was awful. It was awful. You struck out the first batter, and then you walked the next 4. You can't stop a walk. There are 2 things defensively you cannot do in terms of like trying to stop the offense. And it's really 1.5 because you can still kind of rob home runs. There is nothing you can do defensively to stop a walk. Absolutely nothing. You cannot stop them. You cannot stop them. And he walked 4 guys in a row. I mean, the Padres gifted the Brewers runs early, and at that point, it was all she wrote. Tough sequence for Griffin Canning. Hopefully he bounces back. I think he will. But he went from having a great debut to now two kind of clunkers in a row. I will give him the second game. He didn't really have a lot of defense behind him, but he is trending in the complete opposite direction you would like him to trend him in, or he would like him to trend in as you try to put together this rotation. I mean, it got so bad yesterday that the Padres put Matt Waldron back in, which I thought was very admirable for Matt Waldron, who did not do well a couple of days ago as a starter. He knows his fate. Probably in the next couple of hours will be getting DFA'd, so Lucas Giolito could be on the team. We'll talk about that later on in the show. He went out there and tried to save the bullpen a little bit more, and you don't even know if he's going to be part of this organization come noon today. So I think that was very admirable of Matt Waldron yesterday, but unfortunately missed opportunities for him to try to solidify himself on this team, and the Padres are going to have to move on. So overall, pitching yesterday, starting pitching, not great. I don't even know where to start with the offense. I mean, we have now come to a point with this offense where are they ever going to turn this thing around? I mean, we've been talking about Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. like the entire season so far about, well, they're hitting the ball hard. Well, Fernando's hitting the ball hard. Well, they're going to be able to come back from this. Well, this, well, that. They're not even like, I know they're the focal point right now. They're not the only ones not playing well. I mean, look at the entire offense. You start breaking down the numbers of this Padres offense, it's not good anywhere. I mean, go to look at all their splits. I mean, we talk about the how terrible it has been leading off games, which, by the way, the Padres still only have 2 hits leading off a game. That's the worst in Major League Baseball. We talk about how bad they have been leading off innings, and they have been bad leading off innings. We've talked about the leadoff spot not being great either. But then you start taking a deeper dive at the splits of this offense. They are not good anywhere. And I mean anywhere. I mean, it's just, there's nothing really to be overly positive about aside from Miguel Andujar, who has been worth every single penny of the $4 million you paid him going into the season. He's been great. But he's still a role player, and you cannot rely on him to continue to do this the entire season, and he's already starting to come back down to earth. You have seen some timely hitting out of this team, but overall, this offense has not been good across the board. I mean, you look at it, their overall numbers, it's not good. April and March, they hit 235 as a team with a 693 OPS. In the month of May, in 13 games, they're hitting 190 with a 575 OPS. The only guys that are kind of contributing are the guys that you brought in to be role players. I mean, anywhere across the board. Look at like defensive positions. Their catchers are hitting 209. Their first basemen are hitting 238. Their second basemen are hitting 225. Their third baseman, who's mostly Manny, not always Manny because they had a couple of spot starts for him as well. Third baseman at 206. The only position that's hitting somewhat decent is your shortstop position, and that's the guy that everybody cut the last 2 years. Shortstops are hitting 247 for the Pods with a 723 OPS. Your left fielders hitting 226. Your center fielders are hitting 204. Your right fielders hitting 211. At least your DH is somewhat contributing. They're hitting 245. All your pinch hitters hitting 087. Your pinch hitters are 2 for 23. At least they have worked a walk. First batter of the game, 054, 081 slug. That's a 267 OPS. Leading off innings, Padres hitting a $190 with a 570 OPS. Start talking about the batting order. Your leadoff guy's hitting 186 with a 568 OPS. Batting second, 241 with a 619 OPS. Batting third, 219 with a 638 OPS. Batting fourth, a 247 average with an 824 OPS. That's the only part of this batting order that has put together any type of good numbers. And the reality is your cleanup hitter in most of Major League Baseball is probably hitting a little bit higher than that. Your fifth batter hitting 234 with a 648. Your sixth batter, 221 with a 680. Your seventh batter hitting 268 with a 756 OPS. Your 8 hitters batting 193. Your 9 hitters hitting a $181. I mean, look at any split across the board, and the Padres are not doing well in any of them. The best time that they have hit so far this season is swinging at the first pitch. They're hitting 358 with a 967 OPS, if they hit the first pitch. 1-0 counts doing well, 2-0 counts, 3-0 counts. At least all of those are relatively normal. But you get any type of strikes on these guys, and you're hitting under 200. I mean, it is not good across the board. And before people start to think like this is a, shot at Steven Souza Jr., this has been the case for the last couple of years. Everybody wanted Victor Rodriguez out of town last year. The Houston Astros, as bad as they have been overall, have actually put together some pretty good offensive numbers. In fact, most of their numbers are relatively close to the top 10, if not in the top 10 in hitting. So I don't think it's the hitting coach. This is a team that needs to wake up offensively because they have the talent to do it. And Kevin Acee had in his newsletter, I think it's very interesting, and it's totally true, you don't even need Fernando and Manny to have MVP-type seasons. If they just play mediocre to their level, like their level of mediocrity, it drastically changes the outlook of this Padres team from an offensive standpoint. How they're able to win these games right now is beyond me because you've gotten solid starting pitching, but it's not anything that you're really scared of. The bullpen has been solid, but at the same time, you've seen a lot of issues with the bullpen in terms of numbers, yet they're sitting a half game out of first place on May 15th. It's really remarkable. But something with this team needs to change offensively, and they're trying. I mean, Craig Stammen is moving that lineup all over the place. He has had so many different batters try to lead the game off, and guess what? It is not changing for anybody. So maybe it is a little bit of the approach, whatever that may be. I think a lot of people like to blame the approach a lot when they don't see results. And unless you know exactly what they are being told, you'll never know what their approach is. You will kind of guess, but you'll never know. I mean, also, you don't even know if they're following the game plan or not because you don't know what the game plan is. None of us do. The only people that know what the game plan is offensively are the players and the coaches that are in the hitting meeting. Because a lot of the times, and I sit in on it, at the college level, where I get the whole game plan of what they're going to do for the offense, and then none of the players actually execute said game plan, and they don't actually live out the approach. I mean, it happens. So you don't even necessarily know if it is the game plan or not. You can kind of guess, but if they're not following it anyway, can you really figure out what they're doing? Not really. There's a lot of times as a coach where you put in the game plan and your kids are just not even executing them. And then everybody goes like, wow, what an idiot this coach is. I can't believe they're doing this. Is it the coach? Or are they not executing the game plan? Or are they not following the game plan? I don't know. These are just questions. Unless you sit in on those meetings, you're not going to know. But it is truly remarkable just how poor the Padres offense has been, yet how crazy good it has been from the 7th inning on. It is remarkable how much of a drastic shift it is to the late innings. Maybe that's the veteran presence. Maybe that's a little bit of luck. Maybe it's just the timely hitting. Maybe it's the fact that the Padres have been better against relief pitchers than starting pitchers, which also doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, I watched the 7th inning on for a lot of these players. It looks like they're way more patient at the plate, so maybe they have to institute that in the beginning part of the game. But it's hard to argue that when you look at the numbers again, and they are insane at first pitch and swinging early in the count. Late innings, They seem more patient. They work walks. They grind out at bats. Let's think about all the big moments the Padres have had. They've come with high counts. They've come with passing the baton. They've come with how offenses are meant to run in baseball that have success. Yet, when they swing at the first pitch, they're hitting 358. It's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. I mean, I don't have the answer for this. I mean, obviously, if I did, I wouldn't be talking to you. I'd be down there at Petco Park helping out. It's not like they're not trying to figure this out. But the offense it's honestly impressive how they're able to win games, yet they don't have anybody on their team really putting up any type of good numbers. It's really remarkable. I mean, these are the averages for the Padres right now. 176, 229, 144, 257, 190, 214, 215, 244, 289, which is Miguel Andujar. He, again, is just better than everybody else right now. 200, 254, 288, but that's from Camposano, who's on the injured list. 185, 154, and 0. Those are your batting averages for your second place by a half game Padres. I don't know how they're winning games. It's really amazing to me. It's really amazing to me. I don't know how they're winning games. I tell you what, the clutch factor of this team is awesome. I mean, they get Gavin Sheets hitting the home run. I mean, you can never really count this team out when the games are close, but if you get a situation like yesterday where your starting pitcher doesn't keep the game close and your bullpen doesn't keep the game close, you got no shot at coming back with the way that the offense is played. But the frustrating thing is they're talented enough to be able to fix this. I don't believe that all of these guys are going to have the worst year in their careers. Like, you go through all those numbers again, it would be the worst year for Freddie Fermin ever. It would be the worst offensive year for Gavin Sheets. It would be the worst offensive year for Manny Machado, for Laureano, for Merrill, for Tatis. All of those guys would be the worst offensive year for them in their existence. That's why you sit there and go like, it's just only a matter of time before math starts to take over. But the offense is just a glaring problem, and it is now May 15th. And here's the deal. This almost feels like 2023. But the difference is they're actually winning games now in 2026. Like in 2023, it was they're not winning games. They're frustrating to watch on the offensive end. They didn't come back at all in 2023. At least they came back and had some exciting games here in 2026. But the offense seems relatively the same. So, yeah, Griffin Canning, not great yesterday. Offense, though, I mean, you can't really find too much of a silver lining for the offense, and that's collectively. And I think, Fernando's trying to figure it out. I would imagine he's beyond frustrated. Manny has not been able to tee off on fastballs. I'm sure that is beyond frustrating. You see them put the work in. I think a lot of it is unfortunate. It might be some pressing, but at the same time, I still believe that they could turn it around. The problem is they're going to run out of time. I know it's May, but it would be nice for them to start kind of putting things together a little bit. That being said, I thought if they went 3-3 on this road trip, you'd be satisfied. I'm satisfied if they go 3-3 on the road trip. So if they take 2 out of 3 from Seattle, good. At least they're still winning games. But who knows what they got with LA next week. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk more about yesterday's game, recap the series against the Brewers, and talk about a lot of different big talking points of this Padres team, especially with the pitching side and the offense. We'll get to that plus more on the Braden Surprenant Show. Just getting started. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. UCSD baseball just showed both sides of its identity in the same week. First, they dominated San Diego State 8-4 behind a huge night from Gabe Camacho and a pitching staff that didn't allow a hit through 6 innings. Then, against Cal State Bakersfield, they split the series winning game 1 behind strong pitching, but losing game 2 after surrendering a 4-run lead and walking it off in the 9th. That's been the story of the season. Elite stretches on the mound, explosive offense at times, but late game inconsistency that's costing them series. Meanwhile, UCSD softball wrapped up its season with major Big West honors, including Malia Cherry's first team selection after a record-breaking power year. So is UCSD baseball one adjustment away from becoming a real contender, or still searching for that final layer of consistency? Statement win over the Aztecs on a Tuesday, and a good weekend for the Tritons against Cal State Bakersfield that has led to a nice reward for them at the end of the year. But they picked up a major midweek win against San Diego State, 8-4 at Triton Ballpark, splitting the season series. This one was controlled early. Tritons jumped ahead and held San Diego State hitless through the first 6 innings, finished with strong bullpen execution to close it out. Gabe Camacho, monster night, home run and a triple and 4 RBIs. Delshawn Lanier, 2 hits, an RBI and 2 runs. Addison Kleps, 2 walks, 2 runs, and the stolen base. And on the mound, it was total control. Nathan Reese, 3 scoreless, no hits. Connor Etnier, 3 scoreless, just 1 hit allowed. And Devin King, dominant 1-inning finish with 3 strikeouts on 11 pitches. Pitching staff, when they're locked in, they can completely erase opposing lineups early in games. But over the weekend, Frank, they were able to get a couple of wins, but also put themselves in a good position for a reward at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Cal State Bakersfield showed both sides of UC San Diego's identity there. Game 1, it was a 4-2 win. Strong pitching again, 14 strikeouts as a staff for the Tritons. Steele Murdoch, 9 strikeouts over 4 innings. Devin King closed for his second save, and timely hitting from Potestio and Lanier and Klepsich, giving them the win. A loss in game 2, a late collapse, and now this is where concern shows up. Tritons led by 4 runs late, allowed 6 unanswered in the final innings, and lost on a walk-off 3-run homer in the 9th inning. Offense was there. Klepsich with 4 RBIs, a triple and a double. Jamori with an RBI triple, and Costello had 4 walks and 2 runs scored, but it did not hold. On Sunday, though, was the big day for the Tritons. They beat Cal State Bakersfield 15-2. The Tritons now at 22-25 overall, 16-11 in the Big West, tallied 14 hits and took advantage of the Roadrunners of 4 Roadrunner errors to take the finale and secure the 2-1 series win, with the Tritons now guaranteeing themselves a spot in the Big West Championship tournament later on this month.
Yeah, this team right now is built on extremes. Elite bullpen stretches like Etnier and Reese dominance, big offensive innings, 5 to 8 run bursts, but also late game volatility that costs series. They are competitive in every Big West matchup, but the difference between winning and losing often comes down to 1 inning of execution. As for softball, their end of the season as well as the other softball teams in town, UCSD softball wrapped up its season with both recognition and a tough postseason exit. Big West honors Malia Cherry, first team all-conference. Zara Wasserman, second team. Haley Garcia, Tyler Arbuckle, honorable mention. Callie Howard, all-freshman team. Standout season storylines, Cherry program record 15-plus home runs, league leader in RBIs. Wasserman, 355 average with 13 doubles and consistent middle production. Garcia, team hits leader, elite run production and triples. And Howard, breakout freshman arm with multiple complete game efforts. If you look at the postseason, though, took UC Santa Barbara to the wire in a 10-9 thriller, but eliminated by Long Beach State 5-4 in a tight finish. This is a program trending upward. Power hitting is no longer occasional. It's expected. But the big question for UCSD, baseball in particular, is this team a true Big West contender being held back by late game execution, or are they still a year away from consistency? Right now, they can't dominate, but they also give games away late in series they should win. Should be interesting to see what they do in the Big West Championship, Frank. I'm looking for them to make a little bit of noise.
Yep, and that's excellent, and that's what's coming up next. The final stretch of Big West play coming up over the weekend. Remaining focus right now for them is closing out games and finishing series strong, positioning still on the line in the Big West Conference. For softball, their season is over. Their program now shifts into off-season development with major momentum that they were able to build over this season.
And 25 on a Friday. Today's a big day. We got to give away tickets to Padres and A's twice today. We're going to do it in the 11 o'clock hour, and we're going to do it in the 1 o'clock hour. We didn't have a show yesterday because of Padres baseball, so the 11 o'clock hour will be Thursday's winner, and the 1 o'clock hour will be today's winner. So we will have a trivia question for you in the 11 o'clock hour. Stay tuned if you want to win tickets to Padres and A's here at Petco Park. You can get your tickets at Padres.com/tickets. That will be on May 23rd. And then in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll be giving away tickets to that again. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. We broadcast live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. All right. I talked a lot about the offense in the first segment, Frank. I think overall this team, I mean, obviously the pitching is a work in progress from the starting side of things. Hopefully Lucas Giolito can help solidify that. I mean, I was having conversations with guys yesterday, and they're like, he's not the answer. I'm like, well, you need him to be a 3 to 5. Oh, well, if that's the case, it might help them out. Well, that's what you're looking for with Lucas Giolito. The big question, though, is the offense. And here's the thing. There's a couple of questions that came up in the chat during the break. One of them was, the bullpen's keeping the game, the team in the game, and it's keeping the games close, and that's how winning teams do things. Yeah, but teams that hit the way the Padres are hitting right now don't do well, and they're never really contenders, is number one. The other one is moving the lineup around, and I'll get to that in a second. But overall, Frank, this offense has not done well. It continues to not do well, and we are now trending into all right, like, we know it's early in the season, you got to get things going, but nobody's getting anything going, and it's starting to be a little bit of a trend more so than a fluke.
Yeah, no, we're getting to the point where it's no longer, oh, well, it's early for this offense. You could say that for one or two guys, but the offense as a whole, it's not too early anymore. It's time to be worried and concerned about this offense. And I understand everyone's willingness to jump on Steven Souza Jr. because can't fire the players. But this, as you said, has been an ongoing issue for quite some time with the players in this offense. So it's not a Steven Souza Jr. issue. It's clearly not a Victor Rodriguez issue anymore. It is a player issue. Something is up with these guys going up to the plate, and whatever is happening, whatever changes, it's not good. You can't blame it on the coaching staff anymore, because it's been multiple coaching staffs now that have had to deal with these guys through this offense, and it just has not worked. I understand that the coaches are the easiest ones to fire, the easiest ones to get rid of, but at some point you have to turn the attention to the guys that are actually tasked with putting these game plans and putting these processes into action, and they have not gotten it done over multiple coaches now, over multiple years.
Yeah, at this point, there's only so many times you can blame the offense, like the hitting coach, right? I mean, I know it's the easiest scapegoat for a lot of fan bases because you don't sit in the meetings, you don't see the instruction, you don't see it up close, you see it a little bit during spring training, and that's about it. But eventually the players got to perform. Here's the other thing, though, too. They know that they got to perform. They know that they have to be a lot better. They're working to get to that point to be a lot better. I think that's a lot better, than having guys go out there and just say everything's fine, which is not the case. They know they got to hit. I mean, Manny's even said it in his post-game press conferences a couple of times. We got to hit. I mean, we got to go out there and hit. You want to start talking about previous coaching staffs. I mean, Victor Rodriguez is the hitting coach for the Houston Astros. The Astros are the fourth best team in baseball on offense from a batting average perspective. Oh, well, we need slug. We need OPS. Well, their on-base percentage for the Astros is also top 10. Their slugging percentage for the Astros is top 4. The OPS for the Astros is top 4. Their OPS plus for the Astros is top 5. Their offense is a top 5 offense in Major League Baseball. Are you telling me the Astros have better players than the Padres right now?
And they're hurt, too.
And they're beat up. And they're still putting together good offensive numbers. That was the guy everybody wanted gone last year. So eventually the players have to be the one that come through in the end, because as much as, how many times did we hear people talk about like this contact heavy philosophy of Victor Rodriguez is never going to work and whatever. I guess the Astros are not winning games, but they're hitting. Their offensive numbers are all through the roof. If the Padres had those offensive numbers, they'd be in a really good spot. But they don't have those offensive numbers. So I think it's easy to blame the hitting coach, but eventually these guys got to dig down and dig deep into their own selves and be like, we all got to collectively hit better. Which I think leads to the other point that I've seen multiple times. You got to move Fernando down in the order to 6 or 7. You got to move Manny down in the order to 7 to 8. Hey, I think that's fine. You want to move guys around? Sure. I don't think benching them's worth anything. But the problem with that is you can't have everybody on this team at 7 and 8. It's not like you have at least a couple of guys at the bottom of the order that are raking that you want to move to the top. My question is, every time somebody goes, oh, move Fernando to 7. Oh, move Manny Machado to 7 or 8. Who's batting in the top 3? You only have one Miguel Andujar right now. Who else is hitting up there? Xander? You got to go with Miguel, and then you're going to go with Xander, and then who's next? I went through the averages. I mean, there's nothing that jumps off the page. Go through the OPSs. I mean, they are collectively not hitting. There's not one of those players that you can move to the top 3. So if that's the case, what's even the point of moving the guys down if nobody is really collectively hitting? If the team was hitting as a whole and just Manny and Fernando were not, sure, move them down in the order. See if they can figure it out. But there's nobody aside from Miguel Andujar who's putting up solid numbers that he usually puts up over his career. Aside from him, who's batting in the top 3?
I saw someone say, put Miguel Andujar leading off. What can it hurt? He said the same thing about Ramon Laureano, and then his batting average tanked like 60 points. So, yeah, it can hurt something, and he still is not looking right at the plate. So I don't want to run the risk of doing that to another guy. And for Gavin Sheets, you're going to have him bat in the top 3 for one potential moment in late innings?
I mean, as good, as clutch as Gavin Sheets has been in the late innings, right? Because he has the 3-run homers that have taken the lead.
And he came in as a pinch hitter in that game, too. He didn't even start.
He's hitting
He's
hitting 229 on the year with a 747 OPS. Yeah, he's got the 6 home runs. That's great. His OPS plus is a 108, right? I mean, it's not like he is just astronomically better right now. He's hitting 229. I mean, we think that's going to change. I mean, let's think about it from this perspective. The top part of the order is usually the guys that are the best, right? Because they're the better hitters, but also they get attacked differently than the other parts of the order. There's some guys that succeed as 7, 8, 9 hitters because they are in that role, or they succeed because they are spot start guys and they come off the bench. Gavin Sheets has a negative WAR, and he's hitting 229 with a 747 OPS as a platoon player. We think that's going to get better as an everyday starter that plays in the top 3. You're crazy. It's not gonna work like that.
And remember, everyone was looking to cut him after the first week of the series because he hadn't gotten a hit yet. And then right at the very tail end of the homestand, he started to get some hits, started to rally some hits together. He hasn't done anything remotely resembling that since then. The only thing that he has done this year is hit those big home runs to win the games. That's all he has done, other than that quick little burst he had after the first week of the season.
Right. So as much as everybody's like freaking, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this, they have to be collectively better. It has to come from them. And here's the other thing too. Like Johnny's like, well, because it feels like they're too comfortable. We went down to the clubhouse a couple of times in the last homestand.
They're not comfortable.
Those guys are not comfortable.
No.
I'm going to tell you right now. Did you see Fernando after he flew out to the track on Sunday?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Do you think that guy's comfortable right now? Why? Because they smile a couple of times throughout the game? I mean, it's a no-win situation for a lot of these guys because if they act like they're upset, everybody complains that,
there's no swagger.
There's
they're
no
too
swagger.
tight.
They're pouting. Wah. And then when they're like, they got like a smile on their face because it's like, I don't know, I got to play 162 of these things. They're not taking this seriously. They're too comfortable. They're not trying. It's like, it's a no-win situation. They know they have to be better. They have to play better. And you either believe that this group of players can do it or you don't. But the Padres did believe that when they signed these guys. These are the guys that are on your team. And I am in the believer of, I don't think everybody on this team is going to have a career worst year. If you think that's the case, I'm going to tell you right now, that is incredibly unlucky to have everybody have a career worst year.
Can we just say that this might be the last year of this group? Maybe a roster shakeup is what they need. Who are you trading? Whose contract are you going to
100%.
get someone to take? They're here. They are Padres. Period. Period. Stop. You have to figure this out with the group that you have because no one has the ability to go anywhere.
It's just all wasted breath because as fans, we want them to win every game. It's fine. It's fine. They just got to be better. They know it. We'll see what happens this weekend. They take 2 out of 3 this weekend. They're back on track to what it is. And here's the other thing, too. Did we not warn everybody that these next 2 months are going to be the difficult games of the season?
Yes. This is the worst stretch of the season by
where
far.
you got to try to tread water and be 500. Because at the second half of the season, you look at the schedule, and again, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. Those teams are awful, and they're going to be a shell of themselves after the deadline, and that's where every team in baseball racks up wins. Most teams play about 500 ball throughout the year. Right now, the Dodgers are doing the exact same thing. They're just kicking it around. And I guess you could have the argument of, well, this is the time to just, take the lead, put yourself at a distance. You're going to go through a lot of these spurts. The problem is with the offense is nobody's hitting right now. And that obviously needs to change. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Talk about the pitching situation when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The MLB season right now is completely split in two directions. On one side, you've got the Chicago Cubs on a historic heater, multiple double-digit win streaks already this season, and now they're sitting at number 1 in baseball. Right behind them are the Milwaukee Brewers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the New York Yankees, still the heavyweights, still dangerous, and still loaded. But here's where it gets weird. The American League has only a few winning teams overall. In fact, they got 3, and yet it still dominates the top of the power rankings. So even though teams are struggling, they're still being viewed as contenders. Meanwhile, a surprise team like the Cardinals, Royals, and Pirates are hanging around, and established teams like the Mets, Astros, and Mariners are all under pressure early. So are we watching true parity in baseball or just early season chaos before the real separation begins? American League is struggling, but the top is still loaded. There's a strange split happening in baseball right now as the American League has just 3 teams with winning records. And yet when you look at the power rankings from ESPN.com and MLB.com and all the power ranking aficionados out there, the American League still makes up nearly half of the top 16 teams. So what does this mean? League feels uneven, but the top end talent is absolutely real in the American League, even though they only have 3 teams with a winning record.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we went through them, didn't we? On the show, I believe it's just the Yankees, Rays, and the A's,
and the Athletics
are the only 3, at least as of this recording.
And
on
then
Monday,
the Guardians
the
are 500, if you want to, but they're not. It's not a winning record. It's not a winning team.
It is not. So you could definitely tell the Yankees obviously are very, very real. The A's can't really say for sure just yet. They've been down in the dumps for so many years. Same thing with the Rays, but when they have a team like this, when they have a good record like this, they usually stick around, and they have a lot of very, very good young players on that team. So those 3 teams, at least 2 of the 3 are very, very for real, I think.
New number 1 in these metrics, the Chicago Cubs. They've been on fire. We just saw them not too long ago here at Petco Park. They are the hottest team in baseball right now. And it's not just a hot streak, it's a historic one. Multiple 10-plus game winning streaks already this season. First team to do that since the 1955 Dodgers, and they're dominating at Wrigley Field. This feels like a team that's not just winning games, but it building its identity. And if the pitching holds, they're a legitimate World Series threat. But that's the big problem with the Cubs. I mean, they've had significant pitching injuries already this season, yet they've already racked up multiple 10-plus game winning streaks and have been almost unbeatable at Wrigley Field this year. I think eventually they're going to come back down to earth if pitching winning championships continues to be the phrase of baseball.
And this is another team that we talked about at the beginning of the season, it being off to just a god-awful start. They were in last place after the first 2 weeks of the season, and now they're up here doing what they're doing. You just had Boyd go down with a torn meniscus while sitting on the ground. Cade Horton's also out. They have a couple of other pitching injuries. I think Shota Imanaga might be the only healthy one in that starting rotation, when we're hearing rumblings already that they're looking to teams like the Mets inquiring about Freddie Peralta. So they're already out there looking for pitching help, and it's not even the middle of May yet.
I can't believe the Braves come in at number 2, just short of number 1. Nothing about them looks weak. I mean, they've been the standard so far this season. They just took 2 out of 3 from LA and really bludgeoned them over the weekend. Massive NL East lead. They lead the division by 8.5 games. They have stability across the lineup and the rotation. Still one of the most complete teams in baseball. And even when they're not number 1, they still feel like the safest bet in the National League right now.
They're also missing a lot of guys. Spencer Strider's starting to look like he's coming back to normal. Spencer Schwellenbach is on the IL right now, and I think part of the reason why Atlanta dropped to number 2 is because of how weak the National League East is. The Cubs are the first place team in the best division in baseball, and as you mentioned, the 2 10-plus game winning streaks. The Braves are good. Not going to take that away from them at all, but they're 8.5 games ahead in one of the worst divisions in baseball. I think that's why power rankings wise give the edge to the Cubs a little bit.
New contenders starting to emerge everywhere. I mean, obviously, the Dodgers are still elite, even with injuries. The Yankees are powered by breakout bats like Ben Rice to start the season. Tampa Bay quietly dominating the American League. In fact, they're in first place in the American League East. They're one of the 3 teams in the American League that have a winning record. And Milwaukee surviving chaos in the rotation. And that's a team that the Padres will play this week. Another team that's going to be battling for a spot. There are some surprise stories as well. St. Louis continuing to outperform expectations with a young core. Pirates still playing above 500 despite last place standing. Kansas City climbing thanks to Bobby Witt Jr. And the Oakland A's are staying competitive in the American League West. They lead the American League West. They're one of the 3 teams that have a winning record in the American League.
Yeah, and the A's are going to be coming to town next weekend. We just saw how scrappy St. Louis is. Already played Pittsburgh this year a little bit earlier. So it has been definitely a surprise. The Cardinals, I think, on that list, though, are the biggest surprise. Pittsburgh, it's still early for them. Kansas City, they've been playing solidly. The A's kind of had a hunch that they were starting to get over that hump of being just a perennial loser in that American League West. But we were sure that the Cardinals were going to be just about dead and buried by now, and they are fighting with everything that they have right now.
And there's some teams that were supposed to be contenders that right now are fighting just to stabilize. New York Mets still struggling to find consistency. Detroit Tigers falling after the Skubal injury. Houston hit hard by injuries and road struggles. And Seattle stuck in an offensive slump. I mean, these are 4 teams that were expected to make the playoffs in 2026. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking, it's better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, standing over at Sports Station 97.3, The Fan. Haven't talked too much about the pitching yet. I mean, obviously a lot of stuff on the offense, a lot of conversations about the offense. And we get this pops up a lot too. I just, people want to see their team do really well. I get that. Okay. I understand that. We had somebody tweet at the account about like they're comfortable because there's no minor leaguers, there's no prospects pushing them to play better. Frank, can you Can you inform me of any prospect that's pushing stars out of their teams currently?
No.
No, you
As a
can't. Not the
matter
top of your head.
No, I can't.
No, I can't either. I just the prospects that have come up, including the high ranking ones, they come in and they push out like bench role guys until they play a spot on the team. And if they do push out veterans, they're pushing out veterans that are not on long-term contracts.
Yeah,
I can't see a lot of these situations where these teams are like, you know what? I know Mookie Betts has been struggling in LA. Here comes a prospect that's going to push him a little bit further. It's like, come on.
JJ Weatherholt did not push out anyone of note. He was pushing out a Matthew Batten type. That's Connor Griffin was replacing a Tyler Wade type. That's who they're replacing. He's not replacing David Eckstein or Marcus Giles. He's replacing a guy who shouldn't be there in the first place, like an Eggy Rosario type.
100%. That's how this works. So again, they got to be able to figure this out. They got to collectively be a lot better. And the realization is, and I'm sure Tony will talk about this later on this afternoon, because I heard him talk about it last year. You know, you're going to have when you have guys go into dark roles on the offensive side of things, and they all do it at the same time, the results are usually very bad. Right now, the Padres are treading water despite that. I feel like we have this conversation every single year. Yet they've made the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. We'll see what happens at the deadline. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But I warned everybody. I said this next 2 months is where they have to tread water. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. It's Kevin in Chula Vista. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Kevin?
Hey, good morning, Braden. Happy Friday and Friday weekend. So great conversation this morning as usual. Something that I noticed in the Union Tribune this morning, and I don't know who I can attribute to, I don't remember whether it was AC or whoever, but it was noted that Fernando is really struggling with trying to pull the ball. And they said until he is able to pull the ball, he's hit those things over the left field fences, he's going to continue to struggle with the power. Leads me to wonder, not trying to be an orthopedic surgeon by any means, but I still believe that those surgeries and injuries that he had in the last few years have changed him. Maybe for a good long time, maybe forever at this point. I don't know. But certainly with the trend line with him is definite now. We're talking about not just a 1 year off thing. We're talking about a number of period of time here within 2-3 years. The other problem that I note with this lineup is there's not a lot of diversity to it. It's pretty much the same kind of hitting styles, hitting outlooks. There's not much that an opposing pitcher has to adapt differently to with different kinds of hitters coming up. So I think, see what you think, it makes it a little bit easier for opposing pitchers to maintain their repertoire because they really don't have to change it much for these guys. They're pretty much the same kind of guys. And then the last thing I'll say, and you're right, we're stuck with these guys. I mean, this is what everybody bought into when the core of this team has now been together, rinse and repeat for several years now. We're stuck with them. And all we can do is wait and hope. And their age, they're not getting any younger either. And so there's a lot of little things going on here. I don't think it's one thing. I think there's a lot of factors delivering the performance that we're seeing at this point.
Yeah, I do think it's a handful of things, Kevin. I appreciate the phone call. The guys are getting older. I mean, the Dodgers are getting older. They seem to be getting better every time that they get older, although they're not as good to start the season this year as it was before. Here's the situation with the Padres, right? And this is what people need to understand, okay? If you want players like Manny Machado and players like Xander Bogaerts and players like Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr., and you want these players on your team, there's 2 ways that you get these players. One, you sign them, develop them, you draft them, and they're on your team for the 6 years when they're young and they're trying to figure out how to play Major League Baseball, and then they're gone. That would be the Tampa Bay Rays approach to things, right? Am I off on that? That's one way you get these players. The other way you get these players, now, some of them that you have drafted and developed, and I'll talk about that in a different spot. But here's the situation with guys like Manny and Xander. And I know a lot of fans didn't want Xander at the time because of the fact that they didn't need Xander at shortstop, and I get that. But in order to get veteran players like that, you have to sign them to long-term deals. Why do you have to sign them to long-term deals? Because that's the cost of doing business, of bringing in these type of players. And everybody was on board for that when those signings happened, which means you are going to get a lot of years of these players, which means you're going to get some of their best, maybe, and you're also going to get their worst over a career that is going to be a lengthy career. I think a lot of people have talked about the fact that Manny Machado is on a Hall of Fame path career. In that career, he's going to have down years. You signed up for a lot of those years, and that's what you have to do to get a player like him. So everybody was on board for these guys. You want to keep Jackson Merrill in the organization, you got to extend him. You want to keep Fernando in this organization, you have to extend him. You're getting the majority of these players' careers. They're going to be up and they're going to be down. You're going to get the best, you're going to get the worst. So if you want to go back to what the Padres are doing before, you understand that you're going to have to lose some guys. I mean, this happens every single year, Frank. I mean, everybody wants just the best. Everybody wants their team to have the best players during their best years, and then as soon as they have any type of bad play, they're no longer part of the organization. That doesn't work for anybody in Major League Baseball.
No, it doesn't. And especially, like, again, we're talking about trading these guys. Again, it's nice to be able to trade them. It's nice to think that you can just get rid of them. Who's taking on the money? And you're going to have to take money back on. So it's not like it's going to be a salary dump to get rid of Fernando or to get rid of Manny. You also have to get a quality player, because you don't have anyone in the minor league system that's ready to take their spot at the moment on an everyday level. So you're going to be getting another star player who's got a big contract. These are the guys that you have, period.
And they're going to be good enough to figure it out. As I said it before, I mean, like, do you think Manny's going to have a career worst year this year? Same as Fernando, same as Merrill, same as anybody on the team. I literally list anybody on the team besides Andujar right now. Do you think they're all going to have career worst years this season? Were you willing to bet that at the beginning of the year?
No.
No, you're not.
And if it does happen, because there are times where it definitely does happen. It's very rare that it does, but there's also times where everyone has a career year all at the same time. And you don't win the World Series. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, when those things happen. If that is the case for this year, where it is just everyone having a down year at the same time, guarantee you next year it won't happen again. I promise you it will not happen again next year.
Correct. I think they're going to be able to figure it out. Again, I do think the term "stuck with" is interesting. You want these guys, you don't. I mean, you can't just keep running young guys out here that are like the young. There's not a bunch of JJ Weatherholds out there that you could just have on your team, and then at the second, guessing at the right time when he's not going to be good, you ship him off. No team is able to play like that. I mean, even like the team up north that has all these lucrative funds. I mean, they miss on guys too. Like Roki Sasaki's been a joke up there. What are they doing? They ain't giving up on him because they invested a lot of money. They're stuck with him. So everybody's dealing with the same problems. You're going to go through a lot of ups and downs.
Not a bad idea by Cole. How about we sell the team?
Ah, dang it. Already did that.
I'll do it again.
Do it again?
Yeah, do it again. Why
not? Somebody in the YouTube chat goes, is anybody really worth $150 million for 9 years? They're human. I don't, you know what? Maybe you want to have that conversation. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for teams and for fans, that's the going rate of business in Major League Baseball. how much are those players worth? That's, they're worth what somebody is willing to spend.
I'll take it.
Yeah, sounds good. Frank would love to have 150 million and strike out 150 million times. Sign up for that in a heartbeat. Hour number 2 on the show, we're going to give away tickets to Padres and A's. Stay tuned for a trivia question for that. Also, we'll dive into the pitching conversation. Some interesting reports about Matt Waldron that have been clarified. We'll get to that as well. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Later on in this hour, we will hear from AJ Preller as he was on with the morning show, talking about a lot of different things, roster moves, and all that, and some interesting things about maybe some roster moves today. Obviously, Lucas Giolito is coming back. We'll hear what he had to say about that as well. But we'll be doing that later on in the show. We will also, in this hour, be giving away tickets to Padres and A's on May 23rd. So stay tuned for a trivia question in this hour. We will also be giving away tickets to Padres and A's in the 1 o'clock hour. So 2 chances to win tickets to Padres and A's. Stay tuned. Listen for the trivia question. Be the first one to call in and answer correctly. Did you know this weekend is rivalry weekend in Major League Baseball?
I did, yes.
Do you know all the rivals off the top of your head?
No.
I quizzed my friend on this. She actually did really well. She did some serious damage. All right, so
I can probably figure out a good
all right, let's try to guess the 15 games tonight. Now, you probably already know of them.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
Okay, he's not looking. So let's just knock out. So these are all of the interleague rivals, but I will say this: they're not all interleague. They did have a couple of games that are not interleague. That they're actually in the same division, but they are geographical rivals. So this is the geographical rivalry weekend in Major League Baseball. They're trying to make a big deal about this. Obviously, we know tonight is Padres Mariners, so that we could chalk that one off the list. That was the only one that doesn't really make the most sense when it comes to geography. There's another one on the East Coast that we'll talk about, but that's one off the board. You got 14 to go.
Mets, Yankees.
Okay, check. Ding. Go ahead. Give yourself some dings.
Okay.
You never get the dings.
Philly, Boston.
Nope. I told you there's some they're not all interleague.
Well, no, I know. Like, I kind of figured like the D-backs and Rockies.
Right, correct.
Yeah,
Ding.
that's
not the only one, though. There's a couple others. And one of them is the Phillies.
Cubs, White Sox.
Yep.
Nationals, Orioles.
Yep.
Rays, Marlins.
Yep.
Angels, Dodgers.
Yep.
San Francisco, Los Clemente.
Yep. Which that one, when they move to Vegas, is going to be weird.
Yes.
Yes.
Houston, Texas.
Yep. That's one of the other interdivision geographic rivals.
Are the Phillies playing the Braves tonight?
No. Think more geographical. Closer. Same state.
Trying to remember Phillies, Pirates.
Phillies, Pirates. That was the tough one. What else we got? You're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're missing 5. Most of them are in the middle of the country.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the ones I said. Reds, Guardians.
Yep. 4 more.
Who the heck would they pair with the Brewers?
It's easier than you think.
Oh, the Twins.
The Twins. Correct. 3 more. You're going to get mad at one of these because it's so obvious, but it's like in the middle of the country.
I'm thinking Kansas City right now, who they would pair with.
The I-70 series. You know, Kansas City is not in Kansas.
Kansas City Cardinals.
Yep. You're missing 2 more.
Missing the Red Sox, Toronto, and the Braves. Who the heck were the Braves?
Think about that. That's more of a historical one. 2 teams that play each other that you're missing used to play in the same town. That's why they are now the rivals.
So it's the Boston.
It's
Boston, Atlanta.
Correct. That is also the interleague rival that they have played every year. Last one for you. Who is a city that is very close to Toronto? In fact,
Toronto, Detroit.
Detroit. Yes, Detroit. Well done,
Is
Frank.
that it?
Yeah, got them all.
There we go.
How many X's did you have? 3?
2, I think.
I think you had 3. And I think most of them were the Phillies.
No, I only had 1 for the Phillies. I thought Philly-Boston was the...
Semantics. The ones that usually forget about are in the middle of the country because you forget the teams that are in the middle of the country because they're flyover states.
I was going through them so quick, I've forgotten which ones that I had done.
You know what? That's why it's hard to win on the shows.
Exactly.
Put yourself in the perspective. How is this guy missing this right now? Then you get on the spot, put on the spot. Most of these have like names, don't they? Vedder Cup.
So, yeah, Subway Series, so the I-70 series, I think.
The base, was it like the Bay Series?
I think so.
I-70 series.
I think Baltimore, Washington's the I-95 series, something like that.
I thought that was like the Beltway.
Beltway Classic, whatever they want to call that thing.
Yankees Mets was the Subway Series. I don't the Rangers and the Astros play for like the Silver Boot or something like that.
That's at least that's very college, which I don't mind.
At least they both like, but they're actual rivals though. You know, like.
Yeah.
All right, so you have. I'm trying to see if they have like the names for it. They don't. They have all these like different. Oh, the Lone Star Series is the Rangers Astros. They play for it's also the Silver Boot Series, so they do play for a trophy. They actually play for a trophy, which is kind of fun.
What's the Cleveland Cincinnati series? The Hey, these two teams still exist series.
I like in spring training what they call it the Little Ohio, the Battle for Ohio. I don't know. I'm trying to find like the problem is I-94 series is Cubs and Brewers, but that's not one of the ones we're talking about.
No.
Cubs Cardinals is right. I'm trying to find if they have names for some of these. They just have all the division ones. I-5 series they consider the Padres Dodgers, I guess. Why wouldn't that just be the? Oh, I guess the Angels go off the 4. Do they go off the 405? No, they go off the 5, don't they? I-10 series, Diamondbacks and Dodgers. Has anybody called Diamondbacks and Dodgers the I-10 series?
Only everyone.
Apparently.
Who pays attention.
Okay, here we go. Interdivision. I wanted the interleague rivalries here. See if they have games for this. Beltway series is Orioles and Nationals. They did not list Subway series. Oh, there it is. Subway series finally. The Citrus series is Marlins and Rays. Border Battle, Brewers and Twins. Crosstown Classic, White Sox and Cubs. Oh, here it is. It's the Ohio Cup. Ohio Cup, Frank. Reds and Guardians. Ohio Cup.
I like my name better.
I like your name better, too. I-70 series, we got that. Freeway series is Angels and Dodgers. Bay Bridge series is A's and Giants. Although I don't think you could take the Bay Bridge to Sacramento. Maybe you can. And then they got the Vedder Cup on there. So almost every one of them has like some type of name. Oh, here we go. Highway 401 rivalry. That's Toronto and Detroit. That's got such a nice ring to it. And then the Red Sox and the Braves is called the Boston City Series. And I think that's it. Do you know the A's are rivals with the Phillies? Technically, it's called the Philadelphia
A's,
City Series.
Mm-hmm.
How about it?
How about that?
How about it? Rivalry weekend this weekend. I get what MLB's trying to do with that. I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but it's so hard because you have all these different real rivalries, and then you have these interleague ones, and you're kind of blending them together a little bit.
And MLB is so good at marketing that everyone gets excited for it.
Who's the bit like? I can't ask you this because you're a Mets fan, but like for the Yankees, I would imagine their biggest rivals are the Red Sox, right? Like, how do you have a rivalry like a rivalry weekend and it's not Red Sox Yankees because you have to do the interleague stuff? I would imagine. I know you hate the Yankees, but I would imagine you probably hate the Phillies or the Braves more than you hate the Yankees.
I hate the Phillies so much more than I hate the Yankees because they're not in the same division. The Yankees are really irrelevant for most of the year. You just have to deal with the annoying fan base. That's it.
I don't mind playing the Mariners every year. I think it's kind of fun, I guess. But it's even more fun now that it's not burned as one of your interleague games. So you have to, for the longest time, you had to play the Mariners, and that was like during the time where the Mariners and the Padres both weren't very good. And so, like, when you were waiting for teams to come to town and they were rotating the divisions you would play in the interleague play, it was like, all right, cool. We get to play the Mariners every year, but we get to play the Red Sox once every 6 years here at Petco Park. It's like, what? I'd much rather watch them play the Red Sox or the Yankees or like some of the traditional teams. It's fun to see them play those teams. And I get like a lot of, Tony's kind of a traditionalist. I hear it on their show. He likes playing the division a lot more in the National League and not playing the American League. And a lot of the traditionalists like that. I like the current schedule.
I do too.
I like playing everybody every year.
It resembles every other sport with a long schedule like this. So yeah, I don't mind this. I like it a lot. It does kind of take away a little bit from seeing teams play. Like I got whiplash. Somebody put a video of Jake Peavy highlights out the other day, and it was him striking out a Yankee at Qualcomm. Like, how many times did the Yankees actually play at Qualcomm that were not the 98 World Series? Like, that had to have been, because when did interleague play start? Interleague play started in 95, did it not?
I know it started in the 90s.
So they would have only had one, maybe two chances to go to Qualcomm before Petco Park opened?
I mean, for the longest time, I think since I started working at 97 Through the Fan or here at Odyssey, the Padres for a long time never went to Toronto. They just recently went to Toronto a couple of years ago. They have now since gone every other year, but it was like their first time that they had ever been to Toronto. Let me see if I can find it. What's the I hate trying to find the
no,
you know what?
Toronto's coming here this year. It's the last series for the All-Star break. I thought they were going there again this year.
The I can never find the like matchup history of the head-to-head numbers between the two on Baseball Reference, like the series history chart. I tried to save it as a bookmark. It didn't work. But you could go back to see how many times the Yankees have played at Petco Park. I mean, at Qualcomm Stadium.
Petco opened in 04.
04. I don't want to see. I want to see like the full series sheet.
They only played them once.
Was it just in the World Series?
Yeah, it was the World Series and the and that one series in 2002. Those are the only two times they were there.
Where do you find? I hate how like on Baseball Reference you can't.
I just type in Padres versus Yankees all time.
Yeah, I did that
and
too.
It took me to StatMuse.
Let me see if I can find
it.
Yeah,
showing.
I keep finding players who played for the Padres and the Diamondbacks. That's not what I want.
June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of 2002.
All right, so that was the first time.
Yeah, that was
the only time they played at Qualcomm.
Yeah,
aside from the World Series.
Aside from the World Series, yeah.
And the Padres had played in Toronto. I think do the Toronto one. I mean, they had like their first time in Toronto. I think was like 2017. They'd like never been there before. You know, they've never been there. If Dave Marcus hasn't been there, they've never been there.
That music again. Yeah, their first time was 2016. Was the Padres' first time going to Toronto.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then they went back to back. 2016, 2019, and 2023, they went to Toronto. So they went after 3 or 4 straight series. After 3 straight series of coming here, they went 3 straight there, and then they've been doing the alternating.
Yeah. I like the current format because I get to go here for 2 reasons. One, you get to see these teams up close. They come to Petco Park. Also, you get to go on these trips. Like Charisma in the chat, in the YouTube chat. I saw her at Fenway. She's done these trips. I mean, they've crossed off a lot of ballparks. When we bumped into her at Fenway, they went down to Pittsburgh and checked that one off the list. I mean, since they have done this interleague schedule, I've gone to Boston. I've gone to New York. I mean, it's fun to go to some of these places you have never been to.
Apparently she's in Seattle.
And she's from Seattle. Well, I mean, they play Seattle all the time, but I'd love to go to. I've never been to Seattle. I've always wanted to go and watch Padres Mariners. It never works out with my schedule when they play, but you get to check off a lot of ballparks and you get to go to these places you'd never seen before. I think it's great for the fans. It might not be the best for like Major League Baseball players, maybe, but I think it's great for the fans. I'd much rather have the schedule they have now than what they had before.
Yeah. I mean, it does stink. Not going to lie. It does stink losing out in extra series against division rivals. It certainly does hurt. But to be able to see everyone in the major leagues every other year instead of every like 4 or 5, I think it's worth it. You don't feel like an urgency to go and see, say, Roman Anthony for a pick because you know he's going to be here. You know he'll be here again in a good, decent part of his career. It's not like, oh, we saw him in his prime and now he's about to retire.
I also think, like, let's go back to that division thing because that's what gets brought up all the time. It's like, oh, I'd rather play the Dodgers and the Giants like 18 times. So would I. I think it's more fun playing the Dodgers and the Giants. But do you like playing the Rockies? I personally, like, as a fan, I don't like playing the Rockies. First of all, like, they always play you tough. They're not very good. It's not exciting to play the Rockies on a Tuesday night. I would sacrifice playing the Rockies 18 times and cut it down to 12 or 13, whatever it is, to be able to play the Yankees and the Red Sox. I think that's also the argument. Look, like, do you have to sacrifice playing the Dodgers and the Giants 18 times and balance out the entire year? Sure, but the reward is, hey, look, I don't have to play the Rockies and the Diamondbacks 18 times now. I get to fill in with other teams.
Even the fun series like Padres Dodgers, Padres Giants, those series even become a drag when you have one of the teams in bad. Because it's just going to be a dog walking for an extra series or two. So it does become very unfun if one of the teams are especially bad.
I finally found the page I was looking for. I've already bookmarked it. I had to go through all my bookmarks. For some reason, it didn't want to pop up. The head-to-head records.
Mm-hmm.
The first time the Padres played the Blue Jays ever in the history.
Do you want like 04?
2004.
Yeah, it was like just.
And then I was close. It was 2016 was the first time the Padres had ever been to Toronto. They have now been to Toronto. They went to Toronto 3 times in a row. They were there in 2016. They were there in 2019. They were there in 2023. Blue Jays came here in 2024. Now they're in 2025.
How many times straight did they go to? Did Toronto come here? Just out of curiosity.
Toronto came here the first 3 times of existence.
Oh, really? And then they went to Toronto 3 straight times.
3 straight, and then the back and forth. Finally, like you said before.
Thank you.
I was trying to find this stupid site the whole time. So dumb. I can't believe. I mean, that's. There's probably other American League teams like that. I'm curious to see when did they start did we ever determine when they started the
I would have
play?
to. My guess would be 95 because that's when the new CBA came out.
Padres' first year playing the Red Sox was 2002 at home. I was at that. I was at one of those games at.
Interleague play started in 97.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I knew it was the late 90s, and I knew it was after the lockout.
So they played the Red Sox. First time they played them was 2002. They actually went back and forth, the Red Sox, for a decent amount of years. They've played the Red Sox a decent amount. I mean, it's like trying to think of like random like American League teams.
Could probably do that during the break.
Minnesota Twins. It's the last one. Minnesota Twins. Padres have played the Twins a lot more than I thought, but 2003, first time they played the Twins. Even when they started interleague play and played a lot of these teams. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, what's to do with Matt Waldron? They haven't made a roster move yet. We'll hear what AJ Preller had to say later on in the show, and we will dive into some of the reports that we have gotten about Matt Waldron when we come back. The NFL offseason has entered the dangerous phase for contenders. Everybody looks good on paper right now, But if you look closer, there's cracks everywhere. Chiefs still don't fully trust their wide receivers. The Bills have offensive line concerns. The Bengals have almost no receiver depth behind Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Dolphins have major questions at safety. And the Browns, well, they still don't have a franchise quarterback. That's the biggest NFL story right now. Depth matters more than ever. And the teams still playing in January aren't just talented. They survive injuries. The Eagles, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills, those teams can lose starters and keep winning. Meanwhile, a lot of NFL teams are basically saying our quarterback will figure it out. And maybe that works in September, but every postseason we learn the same lesson. The most complete roster usually wins the Super Bowl. The NFL offseason isn't just about who teams added. It's about what teams still haven't fixed their free agency and the draft. And that's where things get interesting right now across the league. A ton of playoff contenders still have major roster questions going into minicaps and training camp. And the biggest themes around the league right now are the AFC is loaded with contenders and still have offensive line concerns. Several Super Bowl hopefuls desperately need wide receiver depth. Veteran free agents like Joey Bosa, Hassan Reddick, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, and others are still floating out there waiting for the right fit. And teams are now entering the plug the last hole phase of the offseason. Here are some quick hitters around the league as we bring in Frank. There's a lot of teams that still need players that fit major holes. And these are a lot of teams that are trying to contend for a Super Bowl next year that have a lot of expectations, starting with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the Bills may have a Super Bowl roster except at left guard. That sounds small, but interior offensive line issues destroy playoff runs. Josh Allen can mask problems, but Buffalo still feels like they're one lineman short of being a genuine contender.
And that's big for them because they have been a team that has not been able to run the ball all that well, aside from Josh Allen. Last year was a little bit better. The Bills have really just been Allen or bust for most of their offense. I mean, they didn't spend the money on the receivers. The receivers continue to be like middle tier wideouts. They don't have that go-to receiver. They brought in Stephon Diggs a couple of years ago, but he was already past being a number one, if you will. And then they went out and made the move with Chicago to bring in a receiver. Again, that's not a number one receiver. And on top of that, you need to be able to protect your best asset, which is Josh Allen. They can't do that with the offensive line that they have. They're going to have to improve that spot, and I think improve the receiver spot as well if the Bills are ever going to get to the Super Bowl. Miami, their safety room is a little shaky. They're relying on veterans and young players with very little proven production in a division with Josh Allen and Drake May. That's very dangerous. Drake May. Kansas City, Chiefs still don't fully trust the receiver room. Outside of Rashee Rice, there are questions everywhere. Patrick Mahomes covered up a lot last year, but this offense hasn't looked dominant recently. And the Steelers, everyone assumes Aaron Rodgers is coming, but even if he does, what happens if one receiver gets hurt? Pittsburgh's depth at wide receiver is thin behind DK Metcalf and company. So for Miami, the secondary is not looking good. Kansas City needs a receiver. Pittsburgh needs receivers. There's a lot of teams out there in the AFC that need some extra production out of their skill players.
Yeah, we're going to stick with the AFC as well. Actually going to stick in the AFC North. The Cincinnati Bengals are terrifying until one receiver goes down. Their depth behind Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is extremely questionable, and that's a risky setup for a team trying to survive in the AFC gauntlet. And again, the Cleveland Browns still do not have a franchise quarterback. That's the story. Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, none of those options inspire any sort of confidence. And Cleveland feels like a team that's once again waiting for next year's draft.
Let's talk about the NFC a little bit with the Dallas Cowboys. They have names at edge rusher, but not certainty. They have injuries, inconsistent production, and rookies that create a huge boomer bust situation for that defense, a defense that was not very good last year that obviously needs to improve. Eagles, who are the defending champs from a couple of years ago, safety is suddenly a concern. And that's how hard it is to repeat in the NFL. Even elite rosters have cracks. Vikings, Justin Jefferson is elite. Jordan Addison is excellent. But after that, almost nothing proven at receiver depth. And that's why veteran receiver rumors keeps circling Minnesota, on top of the fact that they have a quarterback battle between Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. I mean, who's going to get these guys the ball at this particular time as well? And then you look at Seattle, their pass rush depth is very thin, and that matters because their entire defensive system depends on rotating edge rushers. They've already added Dante Fowler Jr. 11:25 on a Friday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, yesterday was interesting. So yesterday's game was awful, right? Not a lot of silver linings out of yesterday. The offense wasn't very good.
Didn't notice.
Okay. Starting pitching wasn't very good. Not a lot to really write home about yesterday for the Padres. Matt Waldron kind of saved the bullpen yesterday. I was shocked to see him in the game. When I saw him warming up, they got back from television. They're like, they showed Matt Waldron. I'm like, why are they showing Matt Waldron from 2 days ago? I'm like, oh, this is Matt Waldron now. Matt Waldron's in the game? I will say this. Regardless of what the situation is with Matt Waldron, and we're going to talk about that here, he knew and he knows his days are numbered and the missed opportunities that he has had on this team, like to really solidify this, being on this team. Him knowing that, Frank, and then telling Craig Stammen, give me the ball, I'll eat 2 innings for you. Whether he said that or not, I would imagine he probably had to say something like that. That's pretty admirable for a guy that might be on his way out.
100%. And like I said, he's a good guy, soft-spoken guy, but he is a gamer. And unfortunately for him, this is kind of the situation that he falls into right now. But yeah, for him to go out there, he could have just as easily said, you know what, I'm out of here. I know it. Just ride it out and enjoy the last couple days in Milwaukee before getting sent down. And he didn't do that. He chose to work, chose to throw, and did very well to his credit.
I think Matt Waldron has done a great job of being a team player, even though his numbers are not good enough to really help his team out. I think there's a value in him being the innings eater potentially down the road, but the problem is the bullpen has been so good. So here's what happened yesterday. Padres lost 7-1 to the Brewers. Waldron had 2 scoreless innings, became one of the biggest storylines coming out of Milwaukee. And after entering in the 7th inning, Waldron allowed only a Sun-aided double before retiring 6 straight hitters. In a game already out of reach, he gave the Padres exactly what they needed, and that was bullpen preservation. The problem is, though, he may have saved it for somebody else. Craig Stammen praised Matt Waldron repeatedly after the game, emphasizing his outing saved the bullpen for the next 3 games. That kind of praise matters inside a clubhouse because it reflects the player sacrificing for the team in a difficult role. But also, it carries another message. The Padres already seem to view Matt Waldron as a reliever, not a starter, because of the fact that you have Lucas Giolito coming back. But also on top of that, if he is a reliever, you don't even know if he's really got the... I don't know how this math problem works out where he's still on the team. We talked about this a couple of days ago. I mean, the looming return of Lucas Giolito appears to be the domino that pushes Waldron out. Nick Pavetta's injury originally opened the door for Matt Waldron to re-enter the rotation, but he struggled to capitalize consistently. I mean, he's allowed 15 runs in 13 2/3 innings across 3 starts before Milwaukee's game. He failed to escape the 4th inning Tuesday against the Brewers after taking over behind opener Bradley Rodriguez. His ERA sits at an 8.49, and the Padres experimented with the hybrid opener setup to help Waldron succeed, but inconsistency continued to follow him, and now Giolito's expected debut in Seattle likely eliminates the final opening in the rotation. So let's move into the bullpen. Well, this is where the problem ensues for the Padres because now it's a roster crunch. Waldron is out of options. That means the Padres cannot quietly send him down to AAA El Paso to remove him from the active roster. They would likely have to designate him for assignment. And when you look at the bullpen math, it's not mathing to keep Matt Waldron on this team. You have 3 relievers with options remaining. Jeremiah Estrada, Mason Miller, and Bradley Rodriguez. Estrada's a high leverage weapon. You're not going to take away from the high leverage arm from this team that probably needs more high leverage arms to just have Matt Waldron come in and be the mop up guy. Mason Miller is obviously the top echelon of Major League Baseball when it comes to closers and bullpen arms. I mean, they're not even entertaining that conversation. And Bradley Rodriguez has been outstanding with a 1.74 ERA, and he looks way too valuable to demote, which leaves Matt Waldron exposed. The Padres essentially have a numbers problem caused by having too many trusted arms rather than too few. I think that kind of shows the bigger trending theme for the Padres. I mean, obviously they have a lot of arms now that they don't want to lose. I think it's a good sign if you're the Padres. But Matt Waldron understands the situation. He acknowledges numbers are ugly. He has no options. He understands how baseball business decisions work. That honestly reflects a player who likely sees the writing on the wall, which makes the situation difficult, is that Waldron has willingly filled multiple uncomfortable roles. He has been the emergency starter. He's been a bulk innings reliever. He's been a bullpen saver, rotation injury replacement. Players that do that often become valuable internally, but the problem is he's not protected externally when the roster math tightens. So I don't see any situation which Matt Waldron is not the move for the Padres when they activate Lucas Giolito this weekend. And I think you're going to have to roll the dice with trying to sneak up through waivers.
And the biggest problem, I think, with that is because he is showing that willingness to fill so many uncomfortable roles. He is the perfect guy to bring up in a pinch, in a tight situation, and then sent back down when that role is filled by the normal guy who's in that slot. Unfortunately, it's too risky to do that when he doesn't have any more options, because that's bringing him back up, losing him for a week as he goes through waivers and then gets reassigned. You can only do that so many times before someone gets wise and picks him up and takes him off your hands. So not only is it a hard decision because now you're losing that guy who's versatile enough to mold into whatever role you really need him to fit in. Now he's also falling in line behind a bunch of guys who have options that do have that freedom and availability to be able to come up and send down at will.
Honestly, he's the victim of timing. But at the same time, Frank, if you didn't have the injuries that the Padres have had to start the season,
he wouldn't have been up here in the first place.
He would have already been DFA'd because he wouldn't have made the team out of camp. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, I think, for some of these injuries for the Padres to be able to see for the last time if, Matt Waldron could help solidify this rotation. He failed to do so. I think in the process, he showed what a great teammate he could be. I think he showed what he values the organization. I think you could see the type of person that he is by sacrificing his own his own goals and aspirations for the betterment of this team that he might not be a part of at the conclusion of today, right? So I think you can say a couple of things. Matt Waldron, the person, great. Matt Waldron, in terms of his overall numbers for what he can bring to the table for this team as of right now, it just doesn't fit. And it's sad. It's an unfortunate deal.
And who knows? Maybe yesterday's outing was kind of an audition for Matt Waldron to say, "Here, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help this team." So maybe he didn't want that last showing to all the other teams in baseball to be that 2 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs. He wanted one more crack to say, "Hey, I could do something for you." So that might have been what yesterday was all about as well.
Maybe somebody goes in the IL.
Yep.
That's also a possibility. AJ Preller mentioned some of that in his interview with Ben and Woods. We're going to get to that when we come back. We also have a trivia question for you to win tickets to Padres and A's. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you call in and answer this trivia question correctly that has two answers, you got to get both answers right, you will win tickets to Padres and A's on May 23rd. Tickets at padres.com/tickets. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you ask Frank what the question was, you will immediately get dropped. You must know the question. You must know the answer. Here's today's trivia question for the 11 o'clock hour. We'll be doing this again in the 1 o'clock hour. The Athletics have two players with retired numbers that have spent time with the San Diego Padres. Who are those players? Call in and tell me both of those players will win tickets to Padres and A's on May 23rd. The Athletics have two players with retired numbers that have spent time with the Padres. Who are they? First one to call in, tell Frank those two answers, will win tickets to Padres and A's on May 23rd. We'll hear from AJ Preller when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station 97.3 The Fan. This week in motorsports showed one clear theme. When the race gets chaotic, the best drivers rise above it. At Watkins Glen, Shane Van Gisbergen was in a different league, slicing through the field from 29 seconds back to win by over 7 seconds. In NASCAR, Connor Zilisch and Caden Honeycutt turned strategy chaos into dramatic finishes, while rivalries like Gibbs and Priest are starting to boil over. In IndyCar, Christian Lundgaard turned strategy and patience into a statement win in Indianapolis. Across every series, one thing is clear: speed wins races, but execution wins weekends. Let's start with NASCAR. This week delivered everything from dominance on road courses, late race chaos, strategy gambles, and few growing rivalries across NASCAR and IndyCar. From Watkins Glen to Texas to Indianapolis, the story of the week is clear: execution under pressure is everything, and one mistake can flip an entire race. Texas Motor Speedway, it was another strong showing for Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, it was. It was also last week's race. Didn't realize that was still in there. Bigger story, though, came at Watkins Glen, which was this weekend's race, as Shane Van Gisbergen delivered what might be the most dominant road course performance of this season so far. After dropping more than 29 seconds behind after a late race pit stop, SVG carved his way through the field like a driver in a different category entirely, reeling in Ty Gibbs and then pulling away to win by over 7 seconds. It was his 7th Cup Series win, all of them on road courses. At this point, the conversation isn't just about whether or not you can compete, whether you can beat SVG on road courses. It's kind of whether or not you can even compete with him at this point.
And Watkins Glen also delivered in the lower series. Connor Zilisch looked like he had another road course win wrapped up until late chaos in both the O'Reilly Auto Parts and truck races reshuffled everything. In the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, Zilisch still managed to secure a dramatic win over Jesse Love after a last lap surge, continuing his dominance at the track, winning his 3rd straight race at the Glen. But in the truck series, Caden Honeycutt finally broke through for his first career win, beating Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen in overtime after a wild restart sequence. Honeycutt's recovery drive from penalties to passing the best road racers in the sport made it one of the most impressive underdog wins of the season so far. Over in Indianapolis, though, IndyCar, there was a statement being made.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the month of May for IndyCar, and it's their big Indianapolis month, and it starts with a road course race. And that happened on Saturday at the Indianapolis road course. Christian Lundgaard delivered a surgical drive to win the Soniso Grand Prix, pulling off a decisive outside pass on David Malukas and never looking back. Strategic chaos to find the race early when a caution split the field, and championship leader Alex Palou briefly lost track position after a pit decision that ultimately changed the entire race's outcome. Lundgaard's win not only marks his return to victory lane, but it also tightens up the championship picture heading towards the multiple weeks of Indianapolis 500 buildup, which will take place on Memorial Day.
And this week raises a bigger question across all series. Are we watching the rise of true road course specialists separating from the rest of the field?
It looks like it might be. Shane Van Gisbergen again has won all 7 of his Cup Series starts, won 7 of his Cup Series races on road course, including his very first race at the Chicago Street Circuit a couple of years ago. Connor Zilic really proved that while he's had kind of a average oval season so far, he proved that he can still be the guy who won and dominated the Xfinity, now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Championship last year. Truck Series put on another great race, as they always do. The O'Reilly race was the best race of the weekend so far. And again, for IndyCar, this is their big month. The month of May is their Indy month. It is huge for them. And it started off with a big, big show on the road course. And now we get into the week-long qualifying procedure for the Indianapolis 500. We got the Weenie 500 put on by Oscar Mayer a little bit later on in this month as well, before it all culminates on Memorial Day weekend with the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 for NASCAR coming up on Sunday.
Should be fun racing in a couple of weeks. And with every week that jumps off the calendar that we do on the show, one week closer to NASCAR coming to San Diego. Dodgers come to town on Monday. They're going to be here Monday through Wednesday next week for a showdown of the top 2 teams in the National League West. Limited tickets are still available. Don't let Dodger fans take over Petco Park. Get your tickets today at Padres.com/tickets. I hope the Padres win 2 out of 3 this weekend, just so we calm everybody down for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There's going to be 4 interesting shows.
It's going to be a long old week. It's going to be
Next week's going to be long for 2 reasons. Okay?
We actually have a full week.
Well, for 2 potential reasons. One, if the Padres don't do well against the Dodgers, which is possible. Oh my God, the overreacting. It's going to be worse than our NFL overreactions that we do. The overreacting. If the Padres do well against the Dodgers, oh my God, the overreacting. I tell you what, maybe we could talk this into being right, but too early. I tell you what, you want to pick a time for Fernando and Manny to just kind of like snap out of it? Wouldn't that be a great time to do it? Like start raking against LA?
It's like a couple of bulls, just wave some blue in front of them. They'll be all right.
You know what? If they, let me ask this question. I'm asking you what you think the reaction's going to be. If Manny and Tatis just light it up Monday through Wednesday, which I don't know why you would have any inclination that things are just going to flip like that all of a sudden. If they just both go on a tear Monday through Wednesday and the Padres beat up on the Dodgers for 3 straight days, or they take 2 out of 3, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Does that forgive the start of the season for both of those players?
Retire their numbers on Friday pregame. just retire them.
If the Padres take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers next week and Fernando and Manny just carry the team, and Fernando gets his first home run of the season and racks up a couple, and Manny just goes off, and like, does everybody just take a sigh of relief on the start of the season for Fernando and Manny?
It will forgive a lot of ills for sure. It will forgive a ton of ills.
I think that's the case. I think people would be like that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. That is not going to be my bold prediction next week. Hopefully they take 2 out of 3 from Seattle. They already swept them here in San Diego. They did need a magical comeback in one of those. It would be nice to get the offense going. I think a lot of it starts with the leadoff guy. I mean, leading off innings, you're not getting any type of production in terms of the leadoff position. As much as you want to break this down, and this is where I got to yesterday. I was sitting there trying to find different angles on what's causing the offensive problems. Even with the leadoff guy not doing well, you can't really point to anything on this offense that's really doing that great.
No.
And we talked about that earlier in the show.
We did, by the way, really quick. We did get an answer to our trivia question.
We did.
By the way, Edmund in San Diego correctly saying that the two A's that have had their numbers retired that spent time on the Padres were Ricky Henderson, who spent time everywhere, so that was a gimme answer, and Raleigh Fingers.
Juan just made a bold prediction here. What are we talking about, Juan? Juan in the YouTube chat said, if that happens, I'll get a Tatis tattoo on my chest. If what happens? How much of that needs to happen? We threw out a lot of different scenarios. First home run for Fernando and the Padres sweep, or is it a Padres 2 out of 3? Or they both rake? I mean, what signifies this? That usually ends poorly for people that do that.
Yes, it does.
One of my friends did that with the triple play. Did I tell you about that a couple years ago? Was that last year, 2 years ago? What was that? Was that 2 years ago? That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
When they clinched the playoff spot on a triple play? Or was that last year? 2 years ago, right?
I don't remember.
They had the triple play against the
in
Dodgers.
LA, yeah.
They're in a jam, right? My buddy says, he puts in the text like minutes before it happens. He goes, if the Padres turn a triple play here, I'll shove a burrito up my bleep. Next pitch, right to Manny.
24.
Triple play, clinch the division. I don't know if he ever did that. I don't know why people make those outlandish statements. I feel like
they know it'll never happen.
Except it happens all the time.
They know it'll never happen right up until the point when it happens.
I don't understand the eating the dog bleep. If we don't beat someone, like the bold bets, I will never do that.
Who was the guy? The Andrew Filipponi.
Yeah, he does that all the time. Why? There is nothing to the level of trying to create content where I'm going to be doing something crazy as like getting a tattoo or say whatever. Once, like, I'll do it. I'll tweet you. I don't know what needs to happen, Juan, for you to get the Tatis tattoo on your chest. Lay out the details of what needs to happen on Twitter, and we'll follow it. We'll see if it happens.
Send it to the show account. We'll bookmark it, and we'll come back to it on Thursday since we'll be overreacting whichever way.
Look, man, I do not want to encourage that. I mean, that's a permanent thing. So, one, you do what you will. Maybe you change it to something. You'll do something else. Maybe you'll get a fake tattoo. I need to see you get a Fernando tattoo on your chest. But you know what? It's in the chat. What did he say? Didn't say. He just says, if it happens, I'll get a Tatis tattoo on my chest. I don't know what he said will happen, but we'll get to that. Let's get to today's sports thread. A lot going on in the sports world.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what do we got going on in the sports world today?
We're going over a lot of like the leftovers that we had that we didn't get to on Wednesday because a lot of the other stories we're going to be hitting up at some point during the show today.
Number 1.
The NBA has wrapped up its investigation into the Milwaukee Bucks and the shutdown of Giannis Antetokounmpo, deciding no further action is needed. But even with the investigation closed, questions remain after Giannis and the team gave conflicting explanations about why he never returned late in the season. Now the bigger storyline shifts to Milwaukee's offseason, where the rumors continue to swirl about the future of the two-time MVP and whether the Bucks could seriously consider trade offers. If you're Milwaukee, Do you keep building around Giannis no matter what, or is it time to consider a blockbuster reset before things get even worse?
We've been talking about this on our NBA updates once a week. I just feel like it's inevitable that he's going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's probably time to cut bait at this point in time. I don't know where the Bucks are going to turn to try to like improve this roster around Giannis. Doesn't seem like Giannis really wants to be there. He'll say what he needs to say to like appease the Bucks fans until he leaves. I just think he's gone. You should probably let him go at this point.
I agree, especially with this NBA investigation. If I'm the Bucks, I just want a clean slate entirely. Just thank you for your service. Move on. We're not in a time where we can build around you right now.
Number 2.
Charlie McAvoy has been suspended for 6 games by the NHL for his retaliatory slash on Zach Benson during the Boston Bruins playoff series against the Buffalo Sabres. The league called the play intentional and outside of the flow of the game, making it one of the harshest NHL suspensions handed out in recent years. McAvoy can still appeal, but the punishment sends another message about the league trying to crack down on dangerous retaliatory plays in the postseason. Did the NHL get the suspension right, or should playoff hockey allow more emotion and physical retaliation in heated moments? Can't cross the line, though.
I don't think you can cross the line. I mean, you probably want to eliminate ticky-tack penalties in the NHL in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but nothing that's egregious. You can't just let them just duke it out for a full 60 minutes. You got to still like rein it in and have some structure to the game. I think they did the right thing.
And those games obviously will be served at the start of next season. So Charlie McAvoy will miss the first 6 games at least right now for the start of next season. And do we play it one more time just for the send-off for the season?
Yes. Get some rest, buddy.
Or Ben Halfquack.
The Ducks looked tired last night. They looked tired. They looked like they had, I don't know, half their roster under the age of 25, which is literally what it is. They looked tired last night against the Knights. So I think it would have been rough for even if they forced the game 7 and made it through the series. I don't think anybody's beating the Avalanche on the Western side of things. So they're going to be good for a lot of years coming. A lot of their players are under the age of 25. I mean, we talked about it off air, but Dostal had the most minutes out of any goaltender in all of the NHL when you include the playoffs, when you include the Olympics, when you include the regular season. He's only 25. Most of their stars are under the age of 25. And that's not even talking about McQueen and some of the goals that are supposed to be contributing factors over the next couple of years for the NHL club for the Anaheim Ducks. So don't let last night, for all the Ducks fans that listen to our show, because we do have a decent amount of Padres fans that are Ducks fans, some San Diego people that are Ducks fans, don't let last night's loss and how this thing finished take away from the fact that was a great season for Anaheim.
Oh yeah, they were 100% playing with house money. The fact that they got past Edmonton was fantastic. Great on them. Congratulations. You knew that Vegas was going to be tough, and unfortunately, the
frustrating thing is you swept them in the regular season.
Yeah,
I mean, it was only so many times you're going to be able to win 4-3 in overtime against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, it did not go well, unfortunately. Vegas in 6 turned out to be the right call.
Number 3.
The Atlanta Braves suffered another tough injury blow as catcher Sean Murphy is expected to miss up to 8 weeks with a fractured finger just days after returning from hip surgery rehab. With Murphy sidelined again, the Braves are leaning even more heavily on breakout young catcher Drake Baldwin, who has been one of the team's bright spots offensively this season. Atlanta also added veteran catcher Sandy Leon for depth as they try to stay afloat through another injury setback. How much can one breakout young player change a team's season when injuries keep piling up around them?
Well, they're going to have to kind of like save the day, and that's where good teams emerge, right? That's the depth that you have when star players go down or everyday players go down. You got to be able to backfill with young players that you believe in. So Another injury for Atlanta. See how many they rack up this year, throughout the year, and see if that is a contributing factor to them down the stretch. When we come back, AJ Preller was on with Bennett Woods as part of our manager's report. We'll talk about what he said to start the noon lunchtime hour.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunch somehow the fan. Brought to you by the Craft Taco, both flavors, 2 locations, Serrano Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
Where are the tacos at? Where's the barbecue at? Rod, back at the desk, still full stomach after barbecue. Wow, Rod, have a Friday, huh? Hoggy, you got barbecue back there and you didn't invite me? Always great. Always great. Rod shared the photo. Oh, man, he made himself the barbecue. He's got his smoker going. Wow. Potato salad, all the fixings. Rod sent his plate. I'm starving now. Look at that. Rod doing it up right. Those look like beef ribs. He's explaining the video. I can't watch it, obviously, right now because whatever. But he's grilling for the boys over at the shop. Heck yeah, Rod. Have a day, Rod. I'd say it's almost time for grilling season. I mean, it's never not grilling season. I want to grill some stuff on Sunday because I actually have Sunday out. So this is the last 2 days of USD baseball for the regular season. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about college baseball. All of our teams are right there competing for a spot in their respective tournaments. I'm pretty sure on our updates, did UCSD already clinch a spot in the tournament?
Yes, UC already did.
San Diego State was in first place.
The Aztecs last night, I believe, clinched first place in the Mountain West, and now we're just waiting on your side.
Yeah, USD. So here's the situation with USD. This is wild, by the way. This is whole conversation that they had. So, yeah, Aztecs have a 2-game lead with 2 games to go over the weekend. As the number 1 seed, I'm pretty sure that they have already beaten Washington State and Air Force on their head-to-head. So San Diego State will have the number 1 seed in their Mountain West tournament. UCSD has clinched their Big West tournament. It's going to be tough for them to try to make it out with the Santa Barbara playing so well as Cal Poly. That will be at UC Irvine in a next weekend. Both San Diego State and UCSD are going to have to win their respective conference tournaments if they want to make the NCAA tournament. So hopefully one of these schools in town is able to do that. As for USD, so USD right now, here's the situation. I said it on the broadcast last night a couple of times. And by the way, shout out to Jaden Lobliner for hitting for a cycle last night. And he left the hardest one for the end. It was a triple. For anybody that's been to Fowler Park, there's not a lot of space out there. It's 312 to left. It's 370 to left center. It's 391 to center field. It's 380 to right center. It's 327 down the right field line. To get a triple there, you got to bury it in the corner in right field or hit it to the gap.
Timeout.
What?
Did you guys model Fowler Park after Yankee Stadium? 312 down the corner?
312 down the left is crazy. Been like that forever. You know where they never hit home runs, though?
Left field.
Left field. It's rarely ever. Now, Chris Bryant hit one over the light tower in left field. It was over 400 and something feet. They never found the ball. That's why there's the KB on top of the light tower. He hit it over the light tower. I've seen a lot of people hit it on top of Manchester Dorm over there in right field. But there's not a lot of places to hit the ball for a triple. He had the double first. Then he hit the home run. He had a single, and then he finished with the triple. He had a 2-1 count, and I was just kind of setting up hey, cycle watch, right? Because it's kind of fun to do. 2-1 pitch he hits it to the one spot that you could potentially get a triple, and nobody was there. I mean, right fielder was playing over to the line. Center field was not playing in the right center field gap, because that, by the way, that is the opposite. It was an opposite field fly ball to right center field. And I was, as soon as Jaden hit the ball, I'm like, he better get on his horse right now and get going.
Boy,
he only
run.
thought about third. He got to third. He becomes the second Torero in history to hit for the cycle, the first Torero to hit for the cycle since 2000, and the second cycle ever at Fowler Park dating back to 2013.
Nice.
Pretty impressive for the senior. It's senior weekend. And so here's the story for USD. USD is in 9th place right now out of 10 teams. They have not had a great year. They're 10-14-1 in conference play. They're 18-30-1 overall in the season. They played tough competition, but the pitching's been rough, to say the least. They are competing for the final spot in the bracket. In the West Coast Conference, 6 teams make the West Coast Conference tournament. You have to play into the 4, so like the first round of games will be 3 through 6 play each other into the next round, and then it turns into like a regional. We're a 4-team double elim.
Mm-hmm.
Gonzaga's already got the number 1 seed. They lead Pacific by now 4.5 games. Pacific through San Francisco can kind of move spots around in the next 2 days, but they're all safe. Pacific, Pepperdine, St. Mary's, and San Francisco. 5 out of the 6 have already punched their ticket to Scottsdale. Portland, Santa Clara, Seattle, and San Diego are 4 teams battling for 1 spot, all within a half game of each other for the final spot in the WCC playoffs tournament. LMU's way out of it. They're 3-22 in conference play. They're 12-42. They're 1-26 in road games. That is just an unreal level of tough, is what I'm going to say. San Diego's playing LMU this weekend. So they won last night. They almost run-ruled LMU in 8 innings. They kind of needed it a little bit late, but they have LMU for the next 2 days. This is what San Diego needed going into the weekend. San Diego needs to sweep LMU. They need Portland to lose 2 out of 3. They need Seattle to lose 2 out of 3. And they need Santa Clara to lose 1 game this weekend. Last night, Portland got crushed by Pacific. Seattle got run-ruled by Gonzaga. And Santa Clara actually run-ruled a team. They're on a hot streak. They've won 6 straight. So over the next 2 days, San Diego needs to go 2-0 against the team that has won 3 games in conference all year. And they need Seattle, who's playing the number 1 team in the conference in Gonzaga, to go 1-1 against them in the next 2 days. They need Portland, who's playing the number 2 team in conference in Pacific, to go 1-1 over the next 2 days. Or 0-2. It's fine. And they need Santa Clara to go 1-1 against Pepperdine, who's the number 3 team in the conference, over the next 2 days. And USD is in. And you know why they're in? Because the game on Sunday was a tie because of travel. It's the only tie in conference. You're not supposed to have ties in conference. There was a crazy conversation with the umpires before the game on Saturday about what time the flight was for San Diego. When's our drop dead time? This is stuff you do in non-conference. You don't do it in conference play. The umpires push this. And so San Diego's like, well, our flight's at 9 and we're an hour and a half away from the airport. Like, whatever. That's our information. So the umpires are like, cool. 4:30 is can't start a new inning after 4:30. USD on Sunday against Pacific had an 11-8 lead at 4:35 going into the bottom of the 8th inning, which means the 8th inning is the last inning. USD pitching gives up 3 runs. It's now 11-11. Game ends in a tie. Conference is freaking out. They're like, what are you guys doing? Well, they agreed upon, there's all this stuff. Why did you have the flight at 7? We don't have a flight at 7. We have a flight at 9. Oh, they said 7. Huge chaos. San Diego goes, all right, we'll go back out there and finish the game if we have to. No, you can't do that. And then, so they start getting changed and dressed for the airport. San Diego, 45 minutes later, gets a phone call from the West Coast Conference going like, all right, up to you guys. You want to go out there and play again? At that point, they're like, we're already dressed ready for the airport. We're not going to go out there now. You guys kind of did this. And so the conference is like, all right, well, we're just going to have it end at a tie. Here's the problem with that. San Diego lost the series to Portland, lost the series to Seattle. They did win the series over Santa Clara, but now they are not able to tie Portland or Seattle due to the half game, which means the tie actually benefits USD because of the situation I told you beforehand. I would imagine if that's the case and they make the tournament as a 6 seed, Portland and Seattle are going to
have a fit.
They're going to be bitching so bad.
Yeah. I could not imagine another scenario. They are going to pitch a fit.
But here's the reality, though. Like, San Diego can argue we could have won an extra innings. And if they win an extra innings, then it wouldn't have mattered because they would be a game better than everybody instead of a half game better. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be some wild play in the WCC this weekend. But I want to give Jaden Lobliner a shout out for last night, getting the cycle. Great to see. It would have been nice if the game was not 4 hours and 5 minutes, but that's kind of standard at this point in time. So you have the Aztecs as the number 1 seed in the Mountain West tourney. You have the Tritons who have qualified for the Big West tourney. I think only 4 teams make it, maybe 6. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then you have San Diego battling, which, by the way, those are all, that scenario I just laid out is not crazy for USD to clinch the last spot in the WCC. Doable. And at that point, all 3 of those schools need to win their conference tournaments to make the NCAA tournament. I don't know if San Diego's got the pitching to do it. San Diego State right now has been on a tear, and they do have good pitching. They might be able to clinch a spot in a regional, and we'll see what the Tritons have. I mean, the Tritons did not do well against the teams in front of them in the standings. Cal Poly and UCSB. So for them, I don't know if they're going to be able to make it through a tournament, but they got the 3 seed right now, holding off Hawaii for the 4. They got a 1.5 game lead on Hawaii. UCSD probably still needs to win one more game to solidify the number 3 spot, but we'll see if they can come up with enough pitching to make it through. And that's your college baseball update. Let's transition this into what AJ Preller talked about earlier today as part of our manager's report, which is usually with Craig Stammen, but it's brought to you by SDCCU. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. A lot of information that was given to us from AJ Preller on the morning show. And obviously, what's the biggest glaring problem for the Padres right now? It's their offense. What did AJ Preller have to say about the Padres' offensive struggles? Here is what AJ Preller had to say about the Padres' offensive struggles on Bennett Woods earlier this morning.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think, you look at our team and, I think on the positive side is that we've found a way to win a lot of baseball games, and we're, sitting there, near or at the top of the standing for most of the first 40 games, which is kind of the quarter point, and a lot of guys contributing, obviously a lot of big swings late in games. And, at the same point in time, we all know that, overall over the course of 162, we know what kind of the standards are and what you need to get to as a group. And, and we haven't swung the bat the way we need to. And our offense overall, if we're going to be there at the end of the season and not just after 40 games, I think, everybody in the building, everybody on the team will tell you, we're capable of more. So, I think the part I think that, I think we all understand is that, there's a lot of belief in Manny and Fernando and, Xander and Jackson and that group, that they've won a lot of games. They've gotten us in the playoffs multiple times. They'll be the first to tell you they've got to be better, and they understand that. And, again, you look at the track record of those guys and also the want to, I think sometimes you see Manny, you see how easy he plays the game and how well he's played the game over his career. And I think all of this just comes easy to him. Like he works really hard for it, and he's down there grinding every day, trying to figure out, why he hasn't had the first 40 games that he's capable of. The positive, like you're mentioning, is that we've done this and we haven't seen what those guys at their best, and we know that's coming. So, that's the focus every day for us, is trying to figure out like how we get there as a group and how to help those guys individually, but a lot of belief that those guys are going to get there for us. So.
Jay Preller talking about the offensive struggles for the Padres earlier today on Ben and Woods. Let's get to something else. I mean, the other thing too is I think a lot of us get inundated with like the ins and outs of winning and losing each and every day instead of, the balancing the rhythm of a 162 game season. Here's what AJ Preller had to say about that.
I think that's all part of that balance and rhythm of 162, and it's also part of the experiences. I think like the fact that I think the best coaches, managers, scouts, players, they can navigate, the ups and downs of a baseball season and how a team can look really good in a series or a week and really bad in a series and week. But I think understanding that, that over the course of the season, what good looks like and what excellence looks like, I think that's the whole key. So, we've got players that, they understand that they want to win, they want to do really well. And ultimately, I think from our standpoint, you can't get emotional about it. You just kind of look and go, okay, if it's not working, what isn't working? What do we want to try to tackle for this week and for the next 10 days and go tackle that. And a lot of faith that we have smart people that are, have a good sense of what needs to be done and talented players that can go ahead and make a change and an adjustment to do it.
AJ Preller joining Ben Woods earlier this morning as part of the manager's report this week. The last one that I want to play involves the situation with Matt Waldron and the bullpen and Lucas Giolito, because that's obviously the big roster construction, roster move that needs to be made coming up this weekend that obviously involves AJ Preller. Here's the latest on what could be the biggest roster move coming up this weekend.
Yeah, and things are always tied together. I think every day we talk about our roster and what's the best way to, to get to navigate, that game or that series. So we made a decision a few days ago, and we felt like, every night, Ruben, myself, Josh, Stein, Craig will sit down and talk, Ben Fritz, about kind of where we're at, especially on the pitching side. And, like ultimately over the last few days, we felt like we had a lot of, we had coverage and, from to play all different style games, if we're down, if we're up, et cetera. Obviously, Giolito coming back is going to lead to a roster move here this weekend, and we'll be ready in terms of making that move. And again, we have some different options. The tough part is there are a lot of guys that are performing well in our bullpen that we've got to talk about, and but ultimately, that's part of the deal is looking up every day and hey, we're going to get a pitcher back and we've got to go ahead and make a roster move. We'll do that here, over the course of the next few hours, honestly.
Next few hours. That was earlier this morning. Haven't seen anything yet. We'll see what the Padres decide to do with this pitching situation. Obviously, with Lucas Giolito potentially coming back at some point this week, and we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But when we come back, an event going on this weekend with On Back. They have their Beer Fest tournaments. They're getting ready for the big summer of over the line tournaments. Everything you need to know about signups for the World Championships, as well as an event to have a good time this weekend, put on by On Back. Tom Doyle will join us next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The San Diego Toreros are stuck in a pattern right now. Competitive starts, but inconsistent finishes. Against UC Irvine, they jumped out to a 4-0 lead early behind strong hitting and another huge on-base performance from CJ Moran. For a moment, it looked like control, but then everything flipped. UC Irvine stormed back with a key 3-run homer, and San Diego was held to just one hit the rest of the way in a 9-4 loss, and that's been the theme all season. This is a team with real talent. Andrew Ghana, CJ Moran, Phoenix Brandt, they're producing, but the consistency over 9 innings just isn't there yet. They can compete in stretches. They just haven't learned how to finish, and as the season winds down, that's the difference between a promising team and a complete one, and a team that should be making the West Coast Conference Tournament and a team that will probably not make the West Coast Conference Tournament. This week for the Toreros, the storyline across multiple programs has been consistent, early momentum, competitive stretches, but difficulty finishing games when it matters most. Sounds a lot like San Diego FC right now, Frank.
Yeah, it does. From baseball's blown early lead against UC Irvine to softball's emotional senior send-off to men's tennis closing out a historic postseason run, San Diego Athletics is showing both growth and growing pains at the same time. And we'll start, of course, with baseball as the Toreros wrapped up their final midweek game of the season, falling 9-4 to UC Irvine at Fowler Park.
Yeah, San Diego jumped out to a 4-0 lead after 2 innings. They were fueled by early offense and another strong on-base performance from CJ Moran, who continues to reach base at an elite rate. Gage Mestis and the top of the lineup helped build the early cushion, and USD looked in control early, but after that second inning, everything changed. San Diego managed just 1 hit and 2 walks the rest of the way as UC Irvine steadily chipped away before a decisive 3-run home run flipped the game in the 6th. And that has become a recurring theme: strong starts but inconsistent finishes, which leads to the bigger picture, a tough season for the pitching staff.
Yeah, on the mound, San Diego used a season-high 11 pitchers trying to navigate the late-game collapse. Some arms did deliver, including Kyle Bade, Adrian
Body.
Sorry.
Idon.
Okay.
You got 2 of the rough names, Kyle Body and Idon Gonzalez.
And a strong finish from Reese Bueno in the 9th inning. Offensively, there's clear production. Andrew Ghana continues to hit at an elite conference level. Moran remains one of the most consistent on-base players in the West Coast Conference. Phoenix Brandt and Gage Mestis have also delivered in key stretches, but baseball is about sustaining execution across all 9 innings, and that right now is Torero's biggest problem.
An emotional senior day for the softball team. San Diego Torero softball closed its season with an emotional and dominant senior day performance. A 3-0 shutout win highlighted a day where Kelsey Tadlock delivered a standout pitching performance, and Charlie Johnson closed the game to secure a combined shutout. It wasn't just a win. It was a program moment. Coaches and players reflected on the senior class's impact and the foundation they helped build for the future of the program. As for tennis, San Diego Torero's men's tennis team saw its historic postseason run end in the NCAA Sweet 16, falling at number 1 Texas 4-1. But the result doesn't define the season. USD finished 22-6, winning its 5th straight West Coast Conference regular season title and 3rd straight conference tournament championship. They got to host back-to-back years in the NCAA tournament for the first and second rounds. Oliver Tarvett picked up a statement win over a top-ranked opponent, and his final season, along with teammates Klassen and Niedner, cements one of the strongest eras in program history. Final takeaway for USD Athletics this week: across baseball, softball, and tennis, the team was the same. Teams are competitive over there in Linda Vista. They have the talent. They win in moments, but the next step is consistency and closing, and that will define the next chapter for Torero Athletics as they move on to the fall season of 20. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Starting to get into the summertime here in San Diego. We still got obviously a couple of weeks away from June 21st, which is the first day of summer, longest day of the year. And as we get closer to summertime in San Diego, you think of a couple of things. You think about going to the beach, thinking about, bonfires, thinking about barbecues, and of course, a mainstay event in San Diego coming up, On Back, Over the Line. Now, the big tournaments, the World Championships, are in July. We will get an update on that in just a little bit, but they start with a lot of different events that help out, obviously, in the communities and do a lot of fun things in town. They have one tomorrow with the Ombak Beer Fest tomorrow. And for more information on that, we bring in a representative from Ombak over the line. We've had him on a couple of times before. His name is Tom Doyle. He joins us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking, it's better. Tom, what's going on? Happy Friday to you. Obviously exciting times as we get into the summer months and get ready for more Ombak events during the summer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's our kickoff event for the summertime. So we're excited to get out here and set up Mariners Point for a great one-day over-the-line tournament and a super fun beer fest.
So part of this, obviously, this tournament, you got a handful of divisions that you put on at Mariners Point, which is at 1215 Mariners Way in San Diego. A lot of people might not know where Mariners Point is. If you play over the line, you know exactly where Mariners Point is. But this is going to be a fun day, all-day event from 7 in the morning to 6 p.m. But you also have opportunities for people to come out, watch, but also be part of the Beer Fest. Tell us a little bit about this event and how it came about, because this is not the first time you've done this event.
Correct. Yeah, this is the 10th annual of the event. We replaced this event with or from our coming out party that we had for years, which is a big music festival and fun event that we've had for 58 years before that. So this is the 68th annual event we're hosting here at Mariners. This is a 10th annual Over the Line Beer Fest tournament. But it's a super fun one-day tournament out here on the sand. We got 70 teams across 4 divisions. The men's pro have been playing in smaller feeder tournaments leading up to this because there is a cash prize that's being handed out by Biggie Balls OTL, who put on some small tournaments. Then we have our men's open, women's open, and a men's masters divisions. We have our own beer buggy that'll be pouring society beer, Surfside canned vodka drinks, starting at 7 a.m. when we kick off OTL games. We'll have the Beer Fest from 11 to 3. We've got about 15 to 20 local breweries that are participating in that. The tickets are $40 for the Beer Fest general admission ticket. The brewery partners that we work with all have discount codes for $15 off. And we actually just created a new code the other day that we sent out this morning, one of our mass emails. The code is Boat Club, and a portion of sales from tickets using that promo code are going to provide money back to the Mission Bay Boat and Ski Club, which tragically suffered a fire last weekend. That's actually where our club meets. So we want to do what we can to try and help out the boat club and give back as much as we can.
You guys do a great job about doing that throughout the entire year. Obviously, the big tournament is what everybody really talks about. But aside from Beer Fest this weekend, what are some of the other events that are going on that are not the World Championships that you guys put on?
Yeah, so we've got our Beer Fest kicks off, tomorrow. Then we have our Junior Overline tournament starting in June. We have 2 of them in June, I believe, and then the World Championships for Junior Overline will be the first full weekend in August. I want to say it's the 8th, but I might be wrong. And aside from that, we're putting all eyes on the 73rd annual Overline World Championships this July Fiesta Island. Hoping to get back up over the 900 to 1,000 team mark again. We brought the spectacle back, and it's a lot of fun to get out there and have a good time at Fiesta Island, but we want to get more people playing the game because it's a game that was created here in San Diego by San Diegans, and we want it to continue and thrive for years to come. So we're trying to do what we can to get more people out, get more people playing. So we have a glove division. I believe they're doing a co-ed division again this year. So whatever we can do to get more people on the sand playing over the line is what our goal is.
For anybody, and obviously I play in the tournament. I've gone to watch my dad play in the tournament many a times. I've played with my dad and his buddies in the tournament. I mean, I think a lot of people here in San Diego that grew up with the sport know about Over the Line. But for a lot of our audience members that might have just moved to San Diego or big Padres fans but don't really know what's going on, what is the game about? A quick description of Over the Line for maybe them to go check out tomorrow to watch for Beer Fest to get them maybe excited to sign up. What is Over the Line in the general terms? I'm sure you have to answer that question a lot.
I do, and we enjoy doing it. So Over the Line is a 3-on-3 beach softball sport that, again, was created by members of our club back in the 1940s down in Mission Beach. They had the water line on one side as a boundary, and they used some kelp on the other to create the other boundary line. They were waiting on volleyball courts, so they grabbed a ball and a bat, and decided, hey, let's do this, where you pitch to your own teammates. If you get, a pitch from your teammate, you try and hit it into a giant rectangle that's, spoiler alert, over the line. And then the other team has 3 defenders that are playing defense, and you want to have it hit the ground where they don't catch it. If they touch the ball and drop it, it's a hit. If it hits past the last person, it's like a home run. But other than that, any hit is basically moving station to station in baseball and softball. But you don't actually have to run the bases. You just hit the ball, wait till your next turn is up, maybe pitch for your teammate. And then when you're on defense, you got to pick which spot you want to play, front, middle, or back. And then you're trying to catch the ball that they hit and just see if you can, be 1 run ahead of them at the end of the game.
That's a fun time. We got Frank out there last year. He had a great time at OTL. We got to get him out there swinging the stick a little bit, maybe this year at the World Championships. For all types of information on Beer Fest for tomorrow, as well as where to sign up for the World Championships, I know you have to buy a pass, I think, for tomorrow as well if you want to participate in Beer Fest. Where can you get all this information for tomorrow, as well as the big tournament coming up in July?
Yes, so if you go to ombac.org, ombac.org, all the information for all of our tournaments tomorrow, this summer, all of it is included there. For the Beer Fest event tomorrow, the $40 ticket, that would be $25 with one of those promo codes, is available there. That will get you the 4-hour unlimited taster Beer Fest event. If you just want to come in and watch some OTL and have a good time and be able to buy drinks from our beer buggy that's selling, beers and mixed drinks and canned cocktail stuff, whatever. If you want to just get in with all that, it's a $5 ticket is all we're asking. Just to be able to come in, check out the sport, have a great time. It looks like the weather is going to be amazing at Mariners Point. So we are so excited to have this event happen for the 10th annual time. Looking forward to the 11th and just trying to kick off our summer run with a fun day with our friends that support the game and play the game and the craft beer community here locally.
And of course, you can sign up for the World Championships on onbac.org as well, coming up in the summertime. If you had a great time at Beer Fest and want to go out there and play yourself. Tom, appreciate you joining us today. Thanks again for all the hard work that OnBac does here in the community. And we look forward to talking to you again before the World Championships.
Absolutely. Thanks again. Thanks for the opportunity to call in.
Tom Doyle from OnBac joining us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. Big event tomorrow at Mariners Point. Should be a fun time. I got to start practicing again. I haven't played since last year, and I got to get back into the swing of things. I'm not trying to win this thing. I'm trying to go out, have a fun time, maybe win a couple of games, make it to the second weekend to say I did. That's about it. So we got a handful of teams this year for the Braden Surprenant show that we're going to have out there. I'm going to play. We got to get Frank out there. Maybe we should start you with the.
I wouldn't mind playing at all.
You want to play in the commits, or do you want to go full go and risk your fingers?
I mean, what the hell is the point in doing it if you don't do it the whole way?
Do it the whole way?
Yeah, I'll wear enough tape on my fingers to where I'll be able to do this.
We're the only ones that play at the station. Nobody else plays. Everybody's afraid about their fingers. I'm just saying. They have different. They have the commixed, the co-ed leagues. They have the commit, which is with the glove. I feel like, but here's the thing, Frank. Like growing up in San Diego, when you do the junior OTL, you learned how to play with a glove, and then you ease into the without the glove.
I'm down for whatever. I do want to play. It looked like a lot of fun last year. I would love to play. It's whatever. I mean, if you want me to start with a glove, I'm fine with that. If you want me to just go straight out there, I'm fine with that too.
We got to get. I'll have you wear the meta glasses. Frank's first OTL appearance. We just can't have you pull a cello with the finger. Oh, show off the casings in the sand. Wow. Now we're talking.
There you go.
You can only use wood bats now, Rod. They got rid of the other ones. I'm pretty sure you can only use wood bats. They have to be softball type bats. There's specific on-back bats that you can use. I heard Charlie Rose makes them over here down the street. I might have to go say hi to go to Charlie Rose and see if they got some of those bats. I know San Jose Sports makes them as well. So should be a fun tournament tomorrow. And I look forward to the summertime. July 11th, men's open.
Get to wear whatever shirt I want too, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so I'll just wear this then.
What is that?
You haven't seen it.
I haven't paid close attention to it.
I bought it specifically for you.
I can't wait to pull the
Go on.
This is my next OTL team. I'm going to look at it during the break. I can't read it
come
through
on.
the screen.
No, we
I can't
need a
read it
live
through
reaction.
the screen. I can't see it. Sorry, girls. What's it say? I only hang with models, and it's train model. That's hilarious. We're going to make new Braden Surprenant show T-shirts for OTL too. We have teams that are our own teams, but again, I'll do it again this year. If you want to wear the Braden Surprenant show shirts, we'll find a way to give those out to you. We're different design this year. We're going to go with different colors this year.
I would go with the baseball tees, like the baseball 3/4.
I don't want to wear those
love
out
those.
there. It's so
I love
hot.
those.
It's so hot outside.
I'm a huge fan of those.
Cool. You can order those.
But those are really light though. They're not like heavy and thick.
A lot of the guys on our teams like to cut the sleeves off anyway. So what's the point of getting the extended sleeves if they're going to cut them off?
Because I like the sleeves.
All right. Okay. I do have to go to Charlie Rose and see if I can get a bat from Sanjo Sports. I would like a custom bat. I heard they make them over there. I'm probably too late to try to get it by OTL, but we'll see. 833-288-1973, 833-288-1973. When we come back, we got to do the midday sports standoff. We will also talk more Padres, obviously, on the other side. Braden Surprenant Show, State of Consumer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The NHL just had one of its wildest weeks of the season. The Toronto Maple Leafs won the 2026 NHL Draft Lottery and now could land a superstar prospect in Gavin McKenna with the number 1 overall pick. Meanwhile, San Jose Sharks grabbed the number 2 pick and continue building one of the best young cores in hockey with Macklin Celebrini already leading the future. In the playoffs, the Carolina Hurricanes are headed to the conference finals, while the Colorado Avalanche and Minnesota Wild are locked in an all-out war. Nathan McKinnon is putting up historic playoff numbers, but Kirill Kaprizov and the Wild just punched back with a dominant Game 3 win. And don't look now, but the Montreal Canadiens and Anaheim Ducks are suddenly making serious noise in the postseason. Young stars are taking over the NHL, and the future of hockey has officially arrived. We got huge draft lottery drama, playoff chaos, breakout stars taking over the postseason, and debate brewing around who could become the next face of the league. Toronto Maple Leafs officially won the 2026 NHL Draft Lottery. Carolina Hurricanes are already heading to the conference finals, and the Colorado Avalanche and Minnesota Wild are in the middle of one of the nastiest playoff battles we've seen all spring. Maple Leafs won the draft lottery. What could we take away from this?
Yeah, the biggest headline of the week, off the ice at least, the Toronto Maple Leafs landed the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NHL draft, despite having just an 8.5% chance to do so in the lottery. That's now the 3rd time in franchise history Toronto owns the top pick, and fans immediately started about dreaming the possibility of Gavin McKenna out of Penn State coming to Toronto. McKenna is viewed by many scouts as a franchise-changing talent, elite puck control, elite vision, dangerous release, basically the kind of player that teams build around for the next decade. He put up 51 points in 35 games as a freshman and dominated at every level before that. Now, the interesting part of this is the timing, is Toronto just hired John Chayka as their new general manager with senior advisor Matt Sundin, and immediately they inherit one of the biggest draft decisions in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, and here's the big discussion point about this. Do the Maple Leafs automatically take McKenna, or do they entertain moving the pick for multiple assets to speed up the rebuild? Because this draft class is kind of loaded. You've got Swedish forward in Ivor Stenberg rising fast, plus a stacked class of defensemen, including Chase Reed, Carson Carrolls, and Daxon Rudolph. But if you ask me, when you have a chance to draft a potential superstar centerpiece, you do not overthink it. That's how franchises change overnight. Always draft best available, Frank. Every sport. It works out better if you do that.
Especially when you have the number 1 pick.
Correct.
And no one can take anyone else. The team behind them, though, the San Jose Sharks, they grab the number 2 pick, and somehow this team keeps finding itself near the top of the draft. Over the last 4 years, they've landed elite young talent, including Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, and Michael Misa. They now add another premium prospect. And honestly, San Jose may quietly be building one of the scariest young cores in the NHL. As general manager Mike Greer even hinted that he could consider trading the pick, which would immediately become one of the biggest offseason storylines in the NHL.
Yeah, if they stay at 2, they could land Stenberg or one of these franchise caliber defensemen. But with Celebrini already looking like the future a superstar, Sharks rebuild suddenly feels ahead of schedule as they try to compete with the 2 other California the other California teams that have made the playoffs and one still alive in the playoffs. And let's transition into the Stanley Cup playoffs because you have chaos everywhere. This postseason has been absolutely insane. Carolina has officially clinched their spot into the Eastern Conference Final. They're the first team into the conference finals, continuing one of the most complete playoff runs in hockey. Meanwhile, the series everybody is watching right now is Colorado and Minnesota. Colorado leads the series 2-1, but Minnesota responded game 3 with a dominant 5-1 win, and the Wild are suddenly getting offense from everywhere, especially their defensemen.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes and Brock Faber each already have 4 goals this postseason, helping Minnesota set a franchise record from the blue line. But the biggest name in this series is still Nathan MacKinnon, who is scoring at a historic pace. He already has 60 career playoff goals and is reaching milestones faster than almost anyone in NHL history, not named Gretzky or Lemieux. On the other side, Kirill Kaprizov continued to build on his performance this postseason with another 3-point night in Game 3. Colorado leading the series 2-1. This series feels like it's going to go all 7, and honestly, as Western Conference Classic written all over it.
And speaking of the Western Conference, and, well, a couple of other series out there that are starting to shake some things up. It's the Canadiens in the Eastern Conference and the Anaheim Ducks in the Western Conference. 2 younger teams that have also made statements over the weekend. Montreal crushed Buffalo 6-2 behind goals from Cole Caulfield and Slafkovsky, as well as Kirby Dach. The Bell Center was electric, and suddenly Montreal has all the momentum in that series. And out west, Anaheim tied their series with the Vegas Golden Knights at 2 games apiece after a huge 4-3 win at the Honda Center. Ducks team is young, they are fast, they are fearless, and maybe ahead of schedule. That building in Anaheim is looking a lot. 12:42 on a Friday. Where did you get that shirt? Not the one you currently have on.
Yeah, no, it was an Etsy purchase. I saw it on Instagram. Texted it to my mom. I said, this would be hilarious. And she said, it'll be here by the end of the week. Like, okay, wait a minute.
Got to be careful who you tell that to.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk about. We do need a contestant for the Midday Sports Stand-Up. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you could take me down in some sports trivia, you'd be qualified for a shot at our grand prize, a $500 gift card to Westgate Las Vegas, the home of legendary Vegas Fun, now offering the Breakaway from Fees package, including a $75 daily dining credit, 2-day spa passes, daily cabaret tickets, complimentary valet parking, and 0 resort fees. Special rates starting at $89 a night. Book now at westgatelasvegas.com. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. If you want to jump in on that today, have room for that. In the 1 o'clock hour, we have another trivia question to ask you to potentially give away tickets for A's and Padres. Stay tuned for the 1 o'clock hour. I will say this. We do have some ticket giveaways next week that are going to be good. So stay tuned. We're going to be giving away tickets on Monday's show as well for next week's Padres-Dodgers series. So stay tuned on Monday. Our game will be one of the days. Stay in the details for that. A's Padres tickets given away at 1 o'clock. But we do need to have a contestant for a Midday Sports Standoff. I think we have a contestant, do we not? Let's get to it.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have Hector playing today, and Hector is from San Diego. Hector, how you doing today?
What's
bud?
up, Hector?
Good morning. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy
Yes.
Friday,
Good afternoon. Come on, man. We got to get closer to 5 o'clock, not further away from 5 o'clock.
All right. So today, again, it's our fun topic. It's a food topic, and this is one. This is one that made the rounds on social media earlier this week, and it has nothing to do with anything. It's just pure guessing.
What does this have to do with Padres Mariners?
And because it's pure guessing, Hector, instead of 3 strikes today, we're both going to get 5.
What?
All right?
5 strikes?
Because it's nothing but pure guessing. There's no stats you can look up. There's no nothing. There are 9 teams in Major League Baseball that are very, very rude to the Italian culture.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And do not allow you to bring a gallon bag of cooked spaghetti into the ballpark. Who are the 9 teams that are insulting to the Italian culture? Hector, again, it's extended. You have 5 strikes.
Man.
Have fun.
Man.
It's a fun one today.
Who are the 9 teams that will not allow you to bring in a gallon bag of spaghetti?
I'm thinking all the teams wouldn't, but I'm going to say the Padres.
No.
The Padres do allow
pasta.
Yes, the Padres do allow you. Now, again,
disclaimer.
Disclaimer. All of your bags are subject to check at the ballpark.
Yeah.
But from what we have seen, there is nothing saying you cannot bring a gallon bag of spaghetti to Petco Park. Braden?
I feel like the Mets, for some reason, don't want to embrace their Italian fans.
They just had Italian Heritage Night too,
and you weren't allowed to bring in pasta.
They just had it yesterday.
The New York Mets,
and no,
Boo.
The Mets do not allow you.
Boo.
The Mets are rude to the Italian culture. Hector?
I'm going to take the Yankees then, the other New York team.
No, that's really, really disappointing to me, honestly.
The Yankees will allow it.
Yeah,
the
Yankees
Mets will not.
do allow it. The Mets don't. I'm in pain.
Nobody likes the Dodgers. Maybe they don't like pasta. Bang!
That's another thing to get on the Dodgers for. Congratulations, Padre fans. You can bring a bag of spaghetti to Petco Park, allegedly, but you cannot to Dodger Stadium. Hector?
According to the rules by...
think mostly American League.
Okay.
American League, okay. The Marlins? Oh, no. Hold on. American League. American League. I'm going to say the Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays.
Nice.
The Rays.
Hey!
The Rays do not allow pasta at the Trop.
No pot. No.
It does not.
Gallon-sized pasta at the Trop.
It does not mix well with orange juice, from what we've heard.
Man.
All right, you said think American. Are there any more National League teams
There
on
are
there?
2 more National League teams, but most of the teams are American League.
Baltimore Orioles. They'll allow crab cakes, but no pasta. Dang it.
Nope.
They'll allow the spaghetti, the gallon spaghetti, when they acquired Pete Alonso.
Baltimore is Italian friendly. Hector?
American League. I'm going to go just to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Not bad. Ah.
Not a bad guess, but no.
Yeah, this one's hard because there's like no stats. There's nothing to think.
Minnesota Twins. They seem strict. No, they allow pasta.
No, come on.
I'll give it. Okay, so let's narrow it down a little bit more here. You got one team left in the American League East, one team in the Central, two in the West.
In the AL Central?
Yes, in the American League Central.
And two in the AL West.
Two in the AL West. You also have one more in the National League East and one in the National League Central. So one in pretty much every division except for the NL West.
Only the Dodgers do not allow pasta.
Yep.
More reason to hate them.
Angels?
One thing Artie Moreno does right. I mean, the owner allows spaghetti in a gallon bag to come through his turnstiles.
Juan in the chat, Frank still rooting for a team that engages in the anti-Italian discrimination.
It's true. All right, the Boston Red Sox, because we've named all the other ones.
Yes, Boston, correct.
Don't try to smuggle pasta into Fenway Park in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag.
Hector, another hint.
Yes.
Padres play them not this weekend, but next weekend. American League team. We've been giving away tickets for this team.
I know that it's the A's, the Oakland A's.
The Los Oakland A's.
Hector, Braden.
He's going to telegraph it for him. That's one of the AL West teams?
Yes, that's one. He's on his last strike. That's why. A little help.
One NL East, one NL Central.
You got one in every division except for the AL West.
Except for the NL West.
The AL East and the NL West.
I feel like with some of these traditional ballparks, they got rules like that. So maybe we go with Wrigley Field and the Cubs. No pasta there.
That's what I was going to say, Wrigley.
Nope.
Dang.
Man.
Hector?
Uh-huh.
It's a city I hate.
I mean, you hate everything.
Well, no, there's a city that I really, really hate.
Oh, well,
that's not New
okay.
York.
All right.
I'm going to just say Detroit. I don't know.
AL Central? Wow!
Bingo. The shot in the dark, and you both are tied.
Frank hates Philadelphia. The Phillies are worried about cheesesteaks. No pasta allowed in a gallon bag.
Exactly. Philadelphia hates Italians. Confirmed. Hector.
Even though they're like
you got one
biggest cult hero is an Italian.
There's two left. One in the American League West and one in the National League Central.
Central. Yeah, I don't even know because I don't know but I'm gonna say the Cardinals. I'm gonna just say the Cardinals.
Wow!
The shot in the dark.
Cardinals.
I guessed on all of them. That was great. Oh my goodness.
It's 4-4.
All right, so we had A's. We already guessed the Angels. We're down to the Astros, the Rangers, and the Mariners that we haven't guessed yet, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a shot in the dark. Everybody hates the Astros. What if they hate the Astros for pasta? I feel like the Texas teams probably allow pasta. I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers don't allow Ziploc bag of pasta.
Hector, I feel so bad.
The Texas Rangers!
The Texas Rangers are the team.
Stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas.
Hector, that was an incredible, incredible game.
Wow.
Braden
You gave too many hints, man.
It was a fun topic based on absolutely nothing but pure nonsense. Yeah, I gave a little bit of extra help. So the 9 ballparks that do not allow you to bring a gallon bag of spaghetti in are the Red Sox, the Rays, the Tigers, the A's, the Rangers, the Mets, the Phillies, the Cardinals, and the Dodgers.
This came from Sicko's Committee for College Football. They had a graphic this week of the MLB spaghetti policy, gallon bag of spaghetti allowed. And it says, this is not 100% guarantee and are subject to all security searches and stadium policies.
Yes.
But they had the list. They are now trying it in all of these cities. So maybe the list will change. But for a lot of these places, you can walk in there with a gallon bag, Ziploc bag of spaghetti.
Don't be Italiophobic, please. Allow spaghetti in the ballparks.
NFL overreacting to the schedule next.
Hey, it's been a
All right, before we talked about spaghetti in a gallon Ziploc bag and whether or not you can bring that into a ballpark. Well, you can. You can bring it in 21 ballparks, allegedly. Don't try this at home, kids. Can't bring it in 9. Can't bring it to Citi Field. Can't bring it to Dodger Stadium. Can't bring it to the Trop. Can't bring it to Fenway. Can't bring it to wherever the hell the A's are playing. Can't bring it to Detroit. Can't bring it to Philly. Can't bring it to St. Louis. Can't bring it to Texas. Got to have a fiddle in the band if you want to bring it to Texas. During that, or Midday Sports Standoff, we got an update from Kevin Acee. He tweeted out 19 minutes ago, the Padres will call up Alec Jacob to provide coverage and bullpen for a couple of days before Lucas Giolito is activated. He then goes on to talk about this on a following tweet. This will be the end of Matt Waldron's time with the Padres, at least for now. And in quotations, he could go unclaimed by another team and end up back in El Paso. This is not a shocking news break today.
No, and I think it's pretty much more or less what I assumed they could do, which is bring up a bullpen arm to get Waldron down and then swap him out. And Alec Jacobs already had an option used earlier this season. He was another guy. He came in this spot for somebody else. So it makes sense. You don't have to burn another player with another option. Bring him up for a couple days. You get that extra arm in the bullpens that you're not going to be using 5 starters this series. And I would assume, especially if they're bringing up a reliever, I would have to assume Giolito will probably start on Sunday night now.
That's what it sounded like it was going to be. It was sometime over the weekend. I think it was going to be Sunday. So get a little extra bullpen help. I mean, it might as well. I mean, I thought this was going to happen. Didn't we talk about this the other day about maybe Alec Jacob coming up to help the bullpen out?
Either Alec Jacob or
David Morgan.
Morgan, because those are the only 2 that have had options used.
Right. You might as well help add an extra pitcher for the next couple of days, especially after yesterday with Griffin Canning. So I think that was only a matter of time that you were going to see this news. This is a report from Kevin Acee, not an official report from the San Diego Padres. We will pass that along if we do see the official roster update from the Padres, but not too shocking. I have a feeling you said it earlier this week. Maybe it was your bold prediction of the week, but you believe, as well as I believe, that Matt Waldron will be pitching in El Paso. I don't think he's going to get picked up. I really don't.
No, I don't think so either. I think I don't know if those 2 innings yesterday were enough for a team to say, yeah, you know what, let's see about it. I don't think it was enough.
I don't think so either. I mean, I don't think it's enough of a. I guess some teams might take a chance on him and then throw him back through waivers. I mean, if that's the case, maybe the Padres could pick him back up. I mean, I don't see him being a high commodity on waivers. I don't. So I think he's going to be back in El Paso. And if not, you know what? Go to a place where you can get the experience you need to be in the big leagues, because you know what? At this point in time, with what Matt Waldron has given you in terms of sacrificing himself to an extent, I don't want to get that extreme, but he put the team first more times than not. He did it in Colorado, where he went out there and wore it after a tough start to the game. He did it yesterday, coming in relief after starting on the mound a couple of days prior. He was doing whatever it takes to be in the big leagues and to help out the team. Him going on to be in the big leagues somewhere else, you wish him the best of luck.
100%.
And hopefully you could bring him back and be part of the organization again. But as of right now, it's time to move on. So not too surprising. Padres got the Mariners tonight. Different ways to watch the Pods this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, right? Didn't they put out a thing today?
Yes.
So tonight is normal in terms of television watching. Tonight is normal. Again, you can listen to all of the Padre games right here on 97 through the Fan. So if all of this is too complicated for you, or like you don't want to switch around, whatever, you can listen right here on 97 through the Fan. We will always have Padres baseball for you here on the Fan. more times than not. They will be on national television on Saturday at 4:15 on Fox. So same start time as last Saturday. So they will be playing the Mariners tomorrow at 4:15 on Fox. And then on Sunday, they have the night game on Peacock. And until the NBA ends, the games will not be on NBC. They'll be on Peacock, the baseball games for Sunday Night Baseball. Have you tuned into one Sunday Night Baseball game yet?
No.
This will be my first.
Yeah, this will be my first, especially since I will be here working it.
Oh, wow. Do we have Peacock in studio?
Oh boy.
Probably not.
I'm not sure.
Are you able to run the game without following it on television? I thought that was the hardest part of spring training. It's just like not being able to watch it.
No, I had
got to be locked in with the audio, man.
The heck did I have? I think I had on Sunday. I think I had the Mets and the NASCAR race on Sunday, last Sunday.
So we got a game on Peacock on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That was the news that we got from the Padres. I do want to get into this, and because it happened yesterday, it's not as fun when you don't have a team for like the schedule release. Some of the stuff was funny though.
The Colts were fantastic.
These are our Colts.
They are our Colts, yeah.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue.
You're welcome, San Diego. I know you missed that. There it is. Got him. Go Aztecs. All right, let's overreact, buy or sell to some NFL schedule release from yesterday before we talk more Padres later on. We'll preview the Padres and Mariners in the final segment. San Diego FC's got a game over the weekend as well we're going to get to. But overreactions to yesterday, plus we get to play the music again.
Okie dokie. Off to the football music. All right, so we will start off this buy or sell.
It's buy or sell time.
Yes.
We love the overreactions that Dan Graziano does on ESPN because I love either buying or selling them.
We will start this buy or sell off with a team that is known as
The Bears. The Bears.
Chicago just won the NFC North in Ben Johnson's first year. Caleb Williams dragged them to the divisional round, but now they've got the hardest schedule in the entire league based off of 2025 opponent records.
Uh-oh.
They closed the season against the Lions, Vikings, Packers, and Bills. Buy or sell, the Bears will miss the postseason.
I will buy that. You want to know why? Because they had the benefit of playing I don't know if they came in last year before or the year before. I can't remember.
So.
They had the benefit of playing a bad schedule last year, and they made the postseason. This year, they got to play a real schedule. This is the best part of it. This is the other parity factor of the NFL. For everybody that says the NFL is at parity, the other parity is when you play poorly, you play a poor schedule. When you play good, you play a good schedule. It makes better matchups. All about that. They're going to have to play a more difficult schedule this year. Out of the gate, at Carolina, playoff team last year. I don't know if they're going to be able to put that together again like they did last year, but Carolina won a playoff game last year. They got to play their division. They got Philly at home. They do get a break. They get to play the Jetropolitans early in the year. They got the Patriots they got to take on because they're playing the AFC East this year as well. They got the Jaguars. They got the Bills. I go through their schedule. It might be a little tough for the Chicago Bears. I thought they improved the roster last year, but I think they benefited from the schedule. They have both teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, the Patriots and the Seahawks, back-to-back weeks in 2026.
Did you see the Jets schedule release video?
I haven't seen any schedule release videos.
They took all of the colors and mixed them together, like paint colors, and mixed them together to make the main color of the team that they're
I've seen
playing.
those before. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody who I used to work with in New York said, yes, the Jets, the Bob Ross of sucking at football. Next stop.
Tough stretch for the Bears. I'm going to buy that. I don't think they make the playoffs.
Next stop, the Cincinnati Bengals. Since he kept Joe Burrow, kept the entire starting offense, and added Dexter Lawrence on defense, and they drew the third easiest schedule in the NFL. Every other team in their division either has a new head coach or a major question at quarterback. So the question is, The Bengals will make not just the playoffs, not just win the division, but make the AFC title game.
I sell that because Joe Burrow never stays upright because they wasted all their money on receivers and Joe Burrow that they can't protect Joe Burrow. And until they can protect Joe Burrow, if he's not going to play, I don't care what the rest of the division has in terms of quarterback problems. Their quarterback problem is they can't keep him for the entire season. They still don't have an offensive line. They're not winning a division. Their schedule's a lot easier, though. I mean, they get to play the AFC South. Houston, a little bit of a bounce back. Houston was tough last year with their defense, but you look at their overall, the division's not good. They'll rack up wins in the division, I think. They play the NFC South this year. They got Tampa, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Carolina. That was not one of the better divisions last year. So that plays into it. They get the Washington Commanders, who are trying to bounce back from a year ago, who are riddled with injuries. You know, I think Cincinnati will win a handful of games, but I don't think they have what it takes to make it to the postseason. But not to the AFC title game.
Yeah, but what a jump in expectation. I mean, they were bad last year because they lost Joe Burrow, finished in last, and
did
now
Jamar
all of a
Chase
sudden,
play last year? Didn't he get hurt last year too?
I believe so. Yeah, and you add Dexter Lawrence, and now all of a sudden you're going to the AFC Championship game. Where did that jump come from? The Miami Dolphins.
Don't get me started on jumps because my buddy that's a Cowboys fan has convinced me they're the favorite in the NFC. And my other friend, this is what my other friend said. He was like, you haven't made the NFC Championship game in 30 years. Now all of a sudden they're just going to be in the Super Bowl.
It's the year, man. This is it.
He said, why not? Prove the defense. It's not the year.
The Miami Dolphins. They fired their general manager midseason, fired their head coach, cut Tyreek Hill, cut Tua Tagovailoa, traded Jalen Waddle, signed Malik Willis, and now they've got the second toughest schedule in the league.
Oh, boy.
9 games against last year's playoff teams for a team that is in full rebuild mode. Buy or sell, the Dolphins end up with the number 1 pick in the 2027 NFL draft.
I could buy that. Let's do this for Chris Ello. Here, by the way, this is the fun stuff that happens when you go to schedule together in May. You have no idea what anybody's going to look like in camp. You have no idea who's going to be healthy this year. They can still make moves. They can still make trades. They can still do a lot of this stuff.
So the Ravens might come up a little bit short in camp this
year. It's May 15th. It's going to be hard to go through this. Let's go through. They open up the season in Vegas against the Raiders. Is that a win for the Dolphins? I think the Raiders win their first game at home with Mendoza and the hype and everything like that. So, L. But if you want to be more on the pro side, all right, give the Dolphins a win. I don't know why they would win that game, but let's give them a win just because the Raiders suck. The Niners on the road, L. Kansas City at home, win or loss?
Hang the L.
L. At Minnesota.
Loss.
L. Versus Cincinnati. They're going to the AFC title game, apparently. L. We have 1 win in the first 5 games.
Let's go.
They're 1-4. At the Jets, dub.
Yeah.
They'll beat the Jets. That's 2 wins. Patriots at home, L. Detroit Lions at home, L. At Indianapolis, L. At Buffalo, L.
They rock up in a boat to Foxborough. They might stand a chance.
Jets at home, dub. At Denver, L. Chicago Bears at home.
They're going to go 2-15 this year, aren't they?
I got 3 wins for the Dolphins because they after Chicago, they go to Green Bay. They got the Chargers at home. They got Buffalo at home. They go to New England to finish up the year.
Like I said, if they roll
I got 3 wins. I got 3 wins for the Dolphins. If they that's if they sweep the Jets. I will buy that they will get the number 1 pick, but I think it depends on if they sweep the Jets or not. Because if they don't sweep the Jets, they'll get the number 1 pick. If they sweep the Jets will get the number 1 pick. Is that crazy?
Fun. No, not at all.
Dolphins they'll get a top 5 pick for sure. They're not beating any of those teams. That schedule's rough.
Next up, we got 2 left here. Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, Mahomes is supposedly on track. They drafted a corner, signed Kenneth Walker III,
but they still finished 6-11 last year. Mahomes tore his ACL, and they have the fifth toughest schedule with 7 games against 12-win teams from last season, including both the Pats and the Seahawks. Buy or sell, the Chiefs will represent the AFC in this year's Super Bowl.
Sell. I think a lot of things have to go right for them for that to be the case. I mean, I know Patrick Mahomes coming off an ACL tear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who knows how much where he thinks he's going to be ready for week 1. If he's ready by week 1 against Denver, I don't know how good he's going to be. I mean, the reason why Patrick Mahomes a lot of reasons for his success, he makes a lot of stuff happen. You've got to be mobile in order to do that. Mahomes is mobile enough to do that when he's fully healthy. How is he going to be coming off an ACL injury? Be interesting to see. I doubt he plays any preseason games against the Rams, the Bucs, or the Seattle. They play a tough schedule. They open up the season with Denver and Indianapolis. That's going to be tough. They get a little bit of a break with Miami and Vegas, but they're both on the road. You got the Chargers, and then you go at Seattle, at Denver, Jets at home, at Atlanta, Arizona. So a little bit of a break. You got Buffalo, the Rams, and Cincinnati all on the road 3 weeks in a row. 2 of them are on Thursdays, by the way. You have a Thanksgiving game at Buffalo. You have a Thursday game against the LA Rams on the road the week after. And then you go to Cincinnati to finish up that little stretch before you host New England, host the Niners, go to LA to take on the Chargers, and then you got the Raiders. That's a tough stretch to finish the season for Kansas City. No, I don't think they make it to the play. I don't think they make it to the Super Bowl. I think I think they can make the playoffs. I don't think they have what it takes to make it to the Super Bowl. And as we've talked about a lot with MLB teams that are aging, this is a team that continues to get older, and I don't know if they've been able to fill in where they've needed to fill in. They'll make the playoffs, the Chiefs will, here on May 15th. They're not making the Super Bowl.
One final one here. A team that missed the playoffs last season. We've seen it before. Both Super Bowl teams from 2025 missed the year before. The Lions, Bengals, Saints, Falcons, Ravens, and...
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue.
all have top 10 easiest schedules and look ready to pounce. Buy or sell, a non-playoff team in 2025 will make the Super Bowl this season.
One of the non-playoff teams will make it to the Super Bowl. Those are Lions, Bengals, Saints, Falcons, Colts, and Ravens.
Well, they
top 10 easiest schedules that didn't make the playoffs.
Yes.
I'm gonna sell that. There'll be a handful that make the postseason. I can't think of a team right now that just missed the playoffs or didn't make the playoffs. It's just gonna rack up a bunch of wins and make it to the Super Bowl. Nothing off the top of my head right now. I'm gonna sell it.
Fair enough.
Go Aztecs is upset about the no Eagles soundbite in comparison to playing the Colts one twice.
There was no Eagles anything on here.
I know.
We could. You want? Fine.
ELGLES Eagles.
There you go. Happy now?
Cowboys favorite in the NFC. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I was trying to tell him, I was like, you're drinking the podcast Kool-Aid, man, about the Cowboys. I think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think they're the favorite in the NFC. I don't think they're better than the Rams. I don't think they're better than the Seahawks right now. Are they better than the Eagles? Maybe. Maybe they might be like competing with the Eagles. I mean, I don't see it. I think the Cowboys are solid, but they went from having one of the worst defenses I have ever seen, and now they're going to be the favorite in the NFC. I know they made some improvements, but they're going to go from worst defense ever to best defense in the NFC? I don't think so. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll get to your phone calls when we come back. We'll talk about San Diego FC and get you a preview of the Vedder Cup Part 2. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station, 97.3. The Fed. Stay tuned, by the way. Next break, trivia question to win Padres A's tickets. College sports getting bigger and maybe more corporate than ever. College Football Coaches Association wants an even larger playoff, wants conference championship games eliminated, and wants the season done earlier in January. At the same time, March Madness is officially expanding from 68 to 76 teams next season. More playoff games, more tournament games, more TV inventory, and of course, more money. Supporters say this gives more athletes opportunities. Critics say it waters down what made these events special in the first place because, let's be honest, if conference title games disappear and March Madness keeps growing, college sports starts looking a lot like professional sports. So are these expansions improving college athletics or slowly erasing the traditions fans actually care about? Let's talk about college football first. It could be getting even bigger. The American Football Coaches Association is pushing for major changes to the future of college football and their playoff. The Coaches Association wants to maximize the number of playoff teams, eliminate conference championship games, and finish the season by the second Monday in January. While the AFCA doesn't officially make the NCAA rules, its recommendations often influence future changes because coaches sit on major committees throughout college football. The organization didn't specify whether or not they endorsed the 16 or the 2014 playoff, but it made clear that expansion is a priority. And I look at this, Frank, and I like all of these ideas that they throw out there. I think it levels the playing field a little bit if you put in the correct playoff format with the amount of teams. I like being done by the second Monday in January. I also do not care about conference championship games. So overall, I like what the coaches have proposed, but again, things are trending in the direction of they need to expand the college football playoff, or they are going to expand the college football playoff.
Yeah, especially now, college football, conference championship games don't necessarily matter. I mean, it's not like an East and West. You're not playing two separate conference schedules. You're not fighting to see who number one is. It's all just one. It's all one championship, except for the Sun Belt. So at that point, when you don't have divisions breaking your conference up, there really is no point in a conference championship game. It's just another game. More playoff teams, I think, is right, especially if implemented correctly and not just given to a 6-6 SEC or Big Ten team. I don't mind any of the changes that are being proposed, but knowing the way college football is and the way college athletics are, and television companies getting in the mix, I don't see them making these correct changes correctly.
No, I don't think so either. I think there's just too much influence. And here's the other thing, too, about the 2014 playoff. What I like about it, if they, again, do it properly, is it eliminates the win off the field gets you past. And it also opens up a window of, an opportunity where, you get to see teams that actually earn it on the field, right? I mean, that's where you want in college football. The other thing, too, for anybody that's against the whole, it's going to ruin the regular season, it might ruin the regular season for 3% of college teams. 97% of college teams in college football are going to be playing for something a little bit more at this point in time. If all of a sudden you got teams that are battling for spots in the college football playoffs. So I like the expansion to 24. I think it needs to happen. I think it's needed to happen for a long period of time. The conference championship games don't make sense because these conferences are so big, and there's no, like you mentioned, there's no divisions or anything like that. It's not like it's an eliminator or a qualifier for anything. So make these all automatic qualifiers, get the politics out of college football, and let them earn it on the field. And I think a lot of fans will like it, despite it seeming like it's an NFL light or a junior NFL. I think a lot of people just want to see a clear path to a potential opportunity for a championship. Now, from that perspective, I'm against March Madness officially expanding, and that's where we kind of try to transition into basketball. The NCAA officially announced that both the men's and women's basketball tournaments will expand from 68 teams to 76 teams beginning next season. This marks the biggest expansion for the men's tournament since the field jumped to 64 teams in 1985. New format adds more opening round games, more at-large opportunities, additional television inventory for broadcast partners. Only 52 teams will now automatically reach the traditional round of 64 compared to 60 under the current system. I hate this. I don't think this is great. I understand why they're doing it, but if they were doing it to give more opportunities for the Big West or the West Coast Conference and hotline, it's not Big Bang Banking, it's better. We had a trivia question earlier today to win tickets to Padres and A's. When we go to break, I will have another trivia question for you about the A's to win tickets to Padres and A's, May 23rd. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We will get to that as we go to break. I just saw this pass up on my Twitter feed. How many, I would say we had a mini crash out in the first hour. Talk about the Padres offense. Mini crash out.
I'd say it's fair.
I think it's fair statement by us. How many people were like, this has been the same thing for 3 years. This team can't win. You saw a lot of those comments, did you not? Right. Do you want to know what the Padres record is since July 1st, 2024, since we like to handpick stats that prove our narratives? That's the best thing about numbers. I could pick any sort of range to make it look like it's good or it's bad.
Sure, have fun.
I mean, we hear Chris Ello always talk about Fernando has only hit 7 home runs since this portion of the last year. Okay. Since July 1st, 2024, Frank, do you want to tell me the top 5 teams in baseball?
July 1st of
2024, yes.
Dodgers.
Yep.
Cubs.
Uh-huh.
Brewers.
Yep. A team you really don't like. Yankees and?
The Padres.
The Padres.
Nailed it. Wow.
Wow. Did you just see that?
No, I did not.
Thought you were going to miss it by 1. I was hoping you'd say Phillies instead. Because I said team you really hate, and the Phillies were 1 spot behind the Yankees at 6.
Well, I mean, Yankees were just recently in the World Series, so that.
Since July 1st, 2024, the Padres are 162 and 117. They have the 3rd best record in all of baseball.
So what are we all complaining about?
I don't know. Everything's bad, right? I saw somebody go can we, contracts aside, can we trust the Padres to win with this core 4?
Nope.
I don't know.
Never.
At least since July 1st, 2024, we can. They're 162 and 117. There is only 3 teams that have more wins than the Padres since that time. The Dodgers, the Brewers, and the Cubs. Do you know how many more wins the Dodgers have than the Padres since July 1st, 2024?
You're setting me up.
I am.
7.
3.
Oh.
Since July 1st, 2024, the Dodgers have won exactly 3 more games than the San Diego Padres. I'm assuming this is regular season.
It wasn't 1 over.
Frank would rather miss answers by way off.
Yes, exactly.
Than continue his.
Because at least I had
one off, Frank.
At least I had
Frankie
no shot at that point.
Frankie 1 off. The Dodgers have had the most wins since July 1st, 2024 with 165. That's 3 more than the Padres. That's only 1 more than the Brewers and the Cubs, who have won 164 games. There are only 5 teams that have won at least 160 games since July 1st, 2024, and those are the top 5. That means the Padres are better than Philly, Detroit, Cleveland, Seattle, Houston, Arizona, the Mets. Well, most of the Mets is probably this recently. Atlanta, Boston, Cincinnati, Tampa, St. Louis, Texas, Kansas City, A's, San Francisco, Baltimore, Miami, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Washington, Angels, White Sox, Rockies. Rockies have won 93 games during that span. I just think it's perspective to give. I mean, I know a lot of people want to see the Padres win a World Series, and they want to see it tomorrow. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But to sit there and say, you're stuck with these players or, they're not going to win and they haven't proven they've been able to win, They have the third best record in baseball since July 1st of 2024. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to the phones. Juan in Oceanside. You're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Juan?
Hey, what's up, Braden? What's up, Frank? I just wanted to talk some SDFC since they just had a game on Wednesday and they have a game on Saturday. It's nice to see them bounce back and get a 5-0 win against a bad team. That's how you should perform against bad teams. But there is enough to talk about, though, defensively and in the midfield with San Diego FC, where there is still room for growth. They are kind of flat-footed. That goal by Pedro Soma I was not expecting at all, but it'd be nice to see him do that more often. And, you know, with a team like Cincinnati that is very defensive, I guess, abled, they're not very good on defense, but are really good at counterattacking, which I would argue San Diego FC is very susceptible to. This will be an interesting challenge at home, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a shootout.
Juan, thank you for transitioning us into San Diego FC for this weekend. Juan's got some good insight on soccer and San Diego FC. What are your thoughts going into this weekend for San Diego FC? Can they build off of what they had earlier this week, or is it the fact that Austin was bitching, complaining, and moaning about the travel?
Austin seriously looked like the team that was tired, that the head coach said they were, but even still, San Diego FC on Wednesday could have put up 10 on Austin if they really wanted to. San Diego FC played their best all-around game. Duran Ferry still scaring you with some of the balls he goes out to try to play. Cincinnati is a very tough team. They're another team like San Diego FC. They were very, very good last year, have not had a great start to this year, and they have not yet won a game on the road. So this is a team tomorrow, and again, it's Andre Dreyer bobblehead night tomorrow. This is a team that San Diego FC can definitely beat, and I think coming off of such a down streak, finally get the win and do it not just in a pinch, not just do it 2-1, 1-0, to just completely wipe Austin off the pitch last on Wednesday night was the perfect way to do it. I think they can. It'll be one of those more sneak out wins against Cincinnati, FC Cincinnati tomorrow, but I think they can very much so build off of this momentum that they found on Wednesday.
They need to be able to bounce back here. They're going to run out of time to be able to do it. I know it's still like relatively earlier in the season, but at the same time, they've been making the strides. They just haven't been able to go over the top. Now they did it on Wednesday of this week. Hopefully they can add to that, build off of it into the game on Saturday. Coming up this weekend, Padres and Mariners. We have game 1 tonight. We will preview what to expect out of the series between the Padres and the Mariners. The Vedder Cup, part 2. One more win for the Padres. They win the Vedder Cup this year. We'll explain when we come back. Aztec baseball officially back on top of the Mountain West. Aztecs bounced back from having their 11-game winning streak snapped by UCSD and responded by winning the series against San Jose State to clinch at least a share of the conference regular season title. Now, San Diego State heads towards the Mountain West tournament as the likely number 1 seed, and they're doing it with balance. Power hitting, lockdown bullpen performances, and timely offense has turned this team into one of the hottest programs in the conference. Meanwhile, Aztec softball closed the season with four all Mountain West selections, highlighted by Caleb Pollard, earning first-team honors after leading the team in nearly every major offensive category. And football wrapped up spring camp with an active quarterback battle as the Aztecs prepare for year 1 in the Pac-12. Right now, San Diego State Athletics has momentum everywhere you look. Let's talk about baseball, championship baseball. Aztecs had one of its biggest weekends of the spring season, and it starts with Aztec baseball officially putting itself back on top of the Mountain West.
Yeah, the Aztecs not only clinched a share of the Mountain West regular season title this week, but they also secured the likely number 1 seed as it comes to the Mountain West tournament. Meanwhile, softball closed out a season with individual conference honors, and San Diego State football wrapped up spring camp with an encouraging encouraging quarterback play heading into the program's first Pac-12 season.
Yeah, let's start on the diamond. Aztecs baseball continues to build one of the strongest late season runs in the conference, even after seeing its 11-game win streak snapped in an 8-4 loss to UCSD earlier in the week. Aztecs responded exactly the way championship caliber teams are supposed to do. They took 2-3 from San Jose State, officially clinched at least a share of the Mountain West regular season championship, and at 32-20 overall and 15-6 in conference play, they now sit firmly in control of entering the final weekend of the regular season, trying to get the number 1 seed in the Mountain West tournament. And it was a response after the streak ended this earlier on Tuesday of last week.
Yeah, the loss to UC San Diego could have turned into a momentum killer. Instead, it became a reset point for them. San Diego State answered immediately on Friday with an emphatic 11-1 run rule win over the Spartans, powered by 3 RBIs by Jabin Trotsky, 3 hits from Jake Jackson, and another dominating outing from Rohan Leto, who struck out 7 across 6 innings of work. The offense exploded early with 4 runs in the first inning. It just never let up. And that response matters because it shows the Aztecs weren't emotionally tied to the streak. They were focused on the bigger goal of winning the Mountain West.
Yeah, let's move forward to the big picture for Aztec baseball. What stands out most right now is the maturity of this baseball team. They're no longer relying on one style of winning. They can win slugfest. They can manufacture runs. They can grind out pitching battles and recover immediately after losses. That's why this group suddenly looks dangerous heading into postseason play. And with Jake Jackson now tied for the team lead in home runs and the bullpen continuing to stabilize, the timing couldn't be better as they try to clinch a spot potentially in the NCAA tournament if they can win the Mountain West tournament. On to softball. While the softball season came to a close this week, Aztecs still had major accomplishments recognized across the conference. 4 SDSU players earned all Mountain West honors. Caleb Pollard made first team. Jade Ignacio earned second team honors, while Layla Masario and Quinn Waki received honorable mention recognition. And Pollard's season was especially impressive. In conference play alone, she led the team in nearly every major offensive category: batting average, home runs, RBIs, slugging percentage, and OPS. That kind of production helped continue one of the most remarkable streaks in conference history. San Diego State has now had a player on the All Mountain West first team in every single season of the league's existence. We'll see if they start a new trend in the Pac-12 next year. Football, though, spring camp wraps up with the quarterback competition heating up.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge start. Biggest takeaway from the spring scrimmage was that quarterback fight. Jaden Denigal, last year's starter, Stone Saunders, and Drayden Trudeau all led scoring drives during the final scrimmage, while the defense also showed flashes with sacks, tackles for loss, and a goal line stand. Saunders finished with 144 passing yards and a touchdown, while Denigal showed command late in 2-minute situations. The defense also forced pressure consistently, totaling 6 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. Overall, spring takeaways seem pretty clear. San Diego State has athleticism, depth, and competition, but now the challenge becomes translating that into Pac-12 level consistency this fall, especially now going into a power conference.
And it's going to be interesting to see them play in the Pac-12. Now it's going to be a lot of Mountain West schools that they have already played with and against, mixed with Oregon State and Washington State. Should be a more fun schedule at Snapdragon. Before we went to break. Okay, so we had the trivia question before about the A's have 2 players whose numbers are retired that both played for the Padres. That was Ricky Henderson and Raleigh Fingers. I want to know who the other 3 retired numbers are for the Oakland Athletics. The number 9, the number 27, the number 43. If you can name me 2 of the 3, or give it to Frank, you will win tickets to Padres and Athletics on May 23rd.
There's 4 more. There's 9, 24, 9, 27, 34, and 43.
Well, 34 is also Raleigh Fingers' number. I'm going to throw Dave Stewart's not an answer.
Okay, fine.
Dave Stewart is not an answer. I'm looking for the number 9, the number 27, and the number 43. You gave me 2 of those players for the Los Oclamento A's. You will win tickets to Padres and A's on May 23rd. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Frank's going to start answering that. Hopefully you get the correct answer. Who are the other 3, not named Dave Stewart, that are the retired numbers for the Los Oclamento Athletics? That is today's trivia question for hour number 2, or the second time we've done this. Good luck to Frank on this. Let's talk about Padres and Mariners coming up this weekend. Padres enter Seattle looking vulnerable offensively, despite still holding one of the NL's best records. The Mariners are trending upward, while the Padres are trending downward and towards a offensive crisis territory. Lucas Giolito expected debut suddenly feels enormous because the Padres desperately need rotation stability. And if you're just tuning in, Kevin Acee reporting that Alec Jacob is expected to be with the club coming up this weekend before they activate Lucas Giolito. And it is expected that Matt Waldron will be designated for assignment. That is the reports from Kevin Acee. So, going into this weekend, Padres and Mariners. Tonight's game will be on regular Padres.tv. Tomorrow's game will be on Fox at 4:15, and then they will play Sunday Night Baseball on Peacock at 4:20 on Sunday. All 3 of these games will be aired right here on 97.3 The Fan. Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. going into this weekend are now no longer just cold. Their production drought is beginning to define the team. Most of the Padres offensively, we talked about this in the first hour, not great. You can't really find one Padres player that has been hitting at a consistent level aside from Miguel Andujar. And he was brought in to be a role player, and he was brought in to be a spot starter. The Padres' record, though, still looks strong, but their underlying metrics are flashing warning signs everywhere. I mean, they're a team that is winning like a team barely hanging on. At 25-18, the Padres remain firmly in a playoff mix and just a half game behind the LA Dodgers for first place in the National League West. But the deeper numbers paint a much shakier picture. Here's some of the warning signs. Run differential, -3. Team OPS in May, MLB worst, 575. 121 strikeouts in 13 May games. Offense ranks near the bottom of baseball in almost every meaningful category. The Padres are essentially surviving on bullpen dominance, close game variance, timely pitching, clutch late innings. That formula can work temporarily, but it rarely survives 6 months. We had people earlier talking about well, they're still winning. Why does it matter? They always do this. Yeah, I mean, I know they've been winning games, but they got to be a lot better. Because the teams that end up winning through the postseason usually have better offenses. Let's talk about Seattle for a second. The Mariners enter the series at 22-23, but they may quietly be playing cleaner baseball than San Diego. +16 run differential for the Mariners. Second best bullpen ERA in Major League Baseball with a 3.08 ERA. Top 10 starting rotation ERA and surging offensively in May. Contrast between the teams is definitely striking at this point in time. The Padres are relying on reputation and talent projections. Seattle relying on actual production right now, which makes this series sneakily dangerous for the Padres, who swept the Mariners earlier this year in San Diego. It'll be the final 3 times that the Padres play the Mariners this year. But the biggest Padres story remains the Stars are disappearing. Nothing changes until Machado and Tatis start hitting. And that's the unavoidable reality for this Padres club. You look at Manny Machado, his OPS has cratered into dangerous territory. Power largely absent for Manny and little impact in RBI spots. For Fernando, still stealing bases and impacting games athletically. He's done it defensively. He's done it on offense. But the slugging production is missing for somebody that could really help the team out with his slug. And strikeouts are continuing to pile up for Fernando, but not just Fernando. I mean, they are piling up for everybody on this team, which is a lot different than last year. Last year, they were hitting for a high average. Last year, they were having high contact and weren't striking out a ton, and people were complaining about the offense last year. This year, the strikeouts starting to mount, and that needs to change. The wildest stat that was outlined in this preview of the Padres Mariners that we pulled from Jeff Sanders was there's only one qualifying Padre that has an OPS above 650 this month. That Padre is Jackson Merrill. He's got a 705 OPS this month, and that says everything about the current state of this lineup. It's not Machado, it's not Tatis, it's not Xander Bogaerts, it's not all three of them. It's literally just Jackson Merrill, and he's barely over 700. We have seen this offense have signs of success. We have seen them put things together, especially late in games, but they haven't been able to do it all collectively, and they haven't been able to do it for a full game. Early in the contest has been rough. We went through a lot of the offensive numbers earlier in the show, but it's hard to find spots to be positive about when there's no real splits to be that positive about when you're looking at the Padres offense. And the Mariners match up extremely well against the Padres' weaknesses going into this weekend. Not the best time to play the Mariners. Again, this is not who you play. It's when you play them. Seattle's had a power surge right now. Julio Rodriguez is starting to heat up. Luke Raley is crushing baseballs. Randy Arozarena is producing consistently right now for the Mariners. Their pitching side of things. Logan Gilbert has historically dominated the Padres. George Kirby consistently limiting damage for the Mariners, and their bullpen is among MLB's best. Meanwhile, the Padres enter with a struggling offense, very heavy bullpen usage, rotation uncertainty, and rising strikeout totals, which is not a great recipe against Seattle's pitching profile. This is almost the exact opposite of the last time these two teams played. I mean, Seattle at the beginning of the year was struggling offensively. Yes, they got hot against an Astros team that's in last place, but you saw just how poor the Mariners offense could be and how poor it was at the beginning part of the season in the series against the Padres. They have now figured out a lot of their problems. The bullpen for the Padres has carried this team. And when you look at what the Mariners have done offensively in the last couple of games, they're going to need to have another great outing because of the fact that you have some question marks still. Lucas Giolito is going to pitch sometime this weekend. Randy Vasquez is 4-1 with a 3.05 ERA. Padres are 7-1 and Randy Vasquez starts, but he rarely pitches deep into games. Walks remain an issue for Randy. He's going to pitch this weekend. Advanced metrics still create skepticism for him. I mean, I just feel like the bullpen has just been carrying the squad, and I don't know how sustainable that is. Jason Adams, scoreless in the month of May. Bradley Rodriguez has been thriving with a 1.74 ERA. Mason Miller, perfect in save chances. But there's bigger themes emerging for this Padres team that are a little bit concerning, and the margin for error is starting to shrink. That's why this series this weekend is very important. They take 2 out of 3 this weekend. I think everybody could breathe a sigh of relief coming in on Monday because of the fact that the Padres would have gone 3-3 after they stole one in Milwaukee, which could have been more of a disastrous series for the Padres if they did not steal the game in the middle of that series. But if they take 2 out of 3 for the Mariners, which is no easy task, then they would be in a situation in which they would be 3-3 on the road trip, and they would go into the series against LA in the same position that they were before, 8 games above 500. So I think the Padres have some time to try to start figuring out. I think there's a lot of things that haven't gone their way so far this year, but at the same time, they got to get the offense woken up in a hurry, or else this could spiral a little bit at a bad time because, again, as we mentioned before, these next couple months are going to be difficult for the Padres. This is the tough part of the schedule for San Diego. All right, we got a winner, Frank?
Yes, we do.
All right. Who was today's winner?
It was Daryl in Lakeside won the ticket.
Daryl in Lakeside got the correct answers on the players that had the retired numbers for the Athletics. We were looking for
Reggie Jackson, Catfish Hunter, and Dennis Eckersley.
Congratulations to Daryl, who won the tickets and will be going to the Padres game on May 23rd against the Athletics. We will have Padres ticket giveaways on Monday for the Padres and Dodgers series, so stay tuned to Monday. Enjoy the weekend while we can, Frank, because next week it's going to be rough.
Oh, boy. Always so much fun when Padres play, especially when it's for first place and, all that stuff.
I cannot wait for the overreaction of next week, regardless if it's pro Padres or the sky is falling because we didn't do well against the Dodgers. This is just another series coming up next week that it's going to be extra heightened because of the rivalry, because that's the team you're chasing, the division, because of a lot of things. It's not going to be fun limping into that series if they don't win 2 out of 3 in Seattle. So I haven't seen a lineup yet today. I'm sure it'll come later because the game is later tonight. But I just don't know what you do with the offense that's going to give them a spark. Because eventually, as we mentioned before, to everybody that has said, well, why don't you move these guys down in the order? Who are you going to move up? Who's going to bat leadoff? Oh, Miguel Andujar can bat leadoff. All right. Who's batting second? Xander Bogaerts. Then what? You can't have everybody bat 7, 8, and 9 on this team. So overall, collectively, the offense isn't doing very well. And to be honest with you here, how about this? We've been saying how Manny goes, the team goes. That's been the conversation of this team since he joined the team in 2019. We just assumed that was wins and losses. To be honest with you, Frank, Manny's not hitting well. Guess who's not hitting well? The entire team.
Entire bloody roster.
The entire team's not hitting well. They're winning games despite the fact that they haven't been able to hit. But you know what? Maybe that phrase was right, but too early. We're sitting there going like, well, Manny's struggling, but the team's still winning. Manny's struggling. The team is winning. The team ain't hitting. And that's nobody besides Miguel. Miguel Andujar is the only one I could separate from the group saying that he's doing his part. Xander Bogaerts has been great so far to start the year. He hasn't been unbelievable, though. So out of everybody that has done their job, it's really just Miguel Andujar. So they got to be able to take 2 out of 3 this weekend, be 500, continue this slog. It's going to be tough this next couple of months for the Padres. If they can play around 500 ball, they're going to be in a good spot. But again, they're 25-18 on the year. They have the 3rd best record in Major League Baseball since July 1st of 2024. They're still winning games. It's all that matters. I think you got to give them the track record that they're going to pull out of this, but it would be nice if they started doing it a little bit sooner. Randy Vasquez will take the mound tonight for the Padres. He'll go against Emerson Hancock, 6:40 p.m. Pacific time start. Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show at 5:40. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Coming up next, Gwen and Chris. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. Dodgers will be in town. Got tickets to give away. Look forward to talking to you then.